The following is brought to you by the People's National Party.
Make the trumpets play. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them graves. To get champions, we can do it together. When we look to the future of precipice, we see Jamaica needs the vision of the PSOJ. People said the bag of promises, them can't carry go shop. And the crime rate getting higher, wonder when it all goes now come Rex. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them graves. To get champions.
The proceeding was brought to you by the People's National Party.
The scale of dealing with anti-corruption issues. So there is a learning curve that we are going through. What is important is that the government supports the development of the institution so it can accelerate very quickly on that learning curve and provide the resources so that they can move very quickly on the learning curve, and that the government does not intervene or interfere. And that message goes to the opposition as well. Leave the anti-corruption and policing agencies to do their jobs. I don't want you come to me with that foolishness, you know. You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right start that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.
Hello, welcome. Happy Friday again. Happy Friday to those in television land. Happy Friday to our silent supporters. Happy Friday to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Really appreciate each and everyone's support. A special shout out to our channel members and also to our moderators. Remember, guys, when you come in, thumbs up the live, share us out if you can. And if you're new to the channel, please show us some support by subscribing. That will be greatly appreciated. Tonight's topic is Neocolonialism at an High, with your host, Mystic Sensation, which is Baron and Anne-Marie, and we also have Melting Pot in the building. Let me go ahead and welcome those in the chat. Doris McCoy, Juan Dan, Rosa, Peter Aston, Carla Ebanks, Pamela Okolo, Louis Longshore, RCS Blue, Charmaine Splat. And as you notice, guys, I have pinned the link to the Magnitsky petition. We still need some more signatures. So those who have not yet done so can go ahead, click the link to the website, sign the petition. You do not need to donate on that website, and you can just share so that others can sign the petition as well. Marva McLean, Freedom, Norman Barclay, Born Again Lord, and Sharon Ricketts, welcome. And again, I am going to stress the importance of disaster preparedness readiness for the inclement weather or natural disaster that is heading to Jamaica. Please, guys, it's very serious. You need to take it seriously. Put the necessary preparations in place for life and property, and also follow the instructions of those that are put in place to get you through this disaster. For the emergency contact information, you can go on the different municipalities website, and all the emergency contact number for the particular parish should be on the municipal website. So what you can do is print it off ahead of time just in case electricity goes. So at least you have that just in case you need to make a quick call for any reason at all. So go on the different municipality websites and print off the emergency contact information for your parish. Without any delay, I am going to hand over to Byron.
All right. Thank you, honey, for that. I mean, critical information as it relates to the current situation. Of course, we are going to touch and educate our people as it relates to the system. We get some news from credible information as it relates to the storm chaser and as it relates to Fox News, right? We will be sharing that bits and piece of information as it relates to their tracking of Melissa, which is now Hurricane Category 4, right? Something seems as it relates to the recent development, right, that, it's getting a bit more serious. And of course, we need to definitely, right, take the necessary precaution that we ought to take, right, as it relates to your safety for yourself and others. Without any delay, let us get into our program by introducing none other than our opening batsman, Melting Pot, right, to meet and greet with his people, and then we get to the business of the day. All right, Melting Pot.
Yes, my brother.
All
Want
right.
to say pleasant, good night to everyone tuning in tonight to the Mystic Sensation Live. Big up the people in the chat as usual, our ardent supporter who always share them time with us on the platform, who give us the energy to continue this magnificent work that we are doing to rid Jamaica of corruption and to free Jamaica from the hands of Pharaoh. So, it's just one love I bring to my people, as usual. I'd like to also take the pleasure to acknowledge the host, Sir Byron, and our technical director, Lady Anne Marie, because tonight is a Friday night when everything will be nice on the Mystic Sensation Live. So, without any further ado, I hand back to the host.
All right, blessings. And just let me take the time out, you understand, to big up, right, the Titan boss, Lonesome. Unfortunately, yesterday I really didn't get through and doing my activities to meet Melting Pot, right, and the Titan boss on the show. But Lonesome know it go because I sent him, right, an update as it relates to that, right? But definitely, right, the Titans will not miss me next week. So please prepare for us, right? So you know what's going on. And the Titan boss always, up and ready with certain information, right? Big up yourself, Lonesome, right? Blessings. Now, Jamaica, let me just go into the mood now in terms of dealing with the current situation, because I want to make sure that we pass on the necessary information to ensure, right, our people, right, sort of get the information, right, so that it can sensitize them around safety in dealing with this current situation. So let me just give you a view from the storm chaser as it relates to that update. Honey, let us share that document and present it accordingly. All right. Oh my goodness, this thing seems to be getting really serious. Jamaica can't really take another pressure of this, trust me. Okay, here it is. Storm chaser Johnny Waivers post breaking 5 p.m. advisory. Melissa now has winds of 65 miles per hour and is moving north at 2 miles per hour. The track has shifted a tiny bit east following the latest model guidance. Melissa is now expected to reach sustained winds of 155 miles per hour, right? 5 miles per hour shy of Category 5 with gust to 195 miles per hour. The rainfall, wow, potentially is off the charts. Mighty God. Massive landslides are very likely. Island-wide power loss is pretty much a guarantee. Without generators and cell signal will be lost. Still, and you know, hold on, let me stop right here. So it is Dana Morris Honey that I've seen on the press conference telling people as it relates to certain preparation that, you know, I mean, amidst the weather system, that students can go online and do all of that and the foolishness.
They must go plug everything into her.
No, when these things knock out, we are those students is going to get electricity to you know, the stupidness that keep on coming out of the Jamaica Labour Party administration. It's unbelievable. No, let us read on. Right? Island-wide power loss is pretty much a guarantee. Without generators and cell signal will be lost. Still a few flights left leaving Jamaica, right, this evening and tomorrow morning, and our my wife parents, right, is on one of those flights leaving, right. We hope the best for her as she traverse towards London, right. So melting pot, right. Our parents will be there, sir. Right. Okay. I'm going to ask them to meet melting pot, you know. All right. If you can leave, do it. Otherwise, it will be the longest 3 days of your life. Blatant honesty is key here. When I was in Jamaica today, many people had no idea a storm was even coming. Absolutely heartbreaking. Stay tuned. Now, so we provide that information. Let us go to another place as it relates to Fox News, right? That is now following this thing here, right? To update our people how serious this is. Now, let us get into that, Oni, and share that information, and then we get into, right?
Oh, you change it. Oh, this one.
Yes.
In from the National Hurricane Center, it includes in this new bulletin the possibility of a peak storm surge of 5 to 10 feet above normally dry ground at high tide, somewhere along the southern shores of Jamaica. Let's bring in Fox Weather hurricane specialist Brian Norcross for his analysis. Brian, we've been talking about Gilbert, 1988, as the comp for this, right? A Category 3 technically at landfall. Sandy, that produced a surge of over 8 feet on the southern shores of Jamaica. That was a Category 1. It appears as though this could be a much worse scenario.
Yeah, well, the southern part of Jamaica has these bays all along there. And so the bays are like catcher's mitts, and they grab the storm surge, and there's no way it can get out. So it has to go over the beaches and up over whatever it happens to be there. As a matter of fact, in Kingston, the airport, the international airport, is out on a peninsula out in Kingston Harbor. So that is subject to being flooded in this situation, which may aggravate the recovery process. So this is a daunting thing if the storm comes in as forecast, which is going to put tremendous amount of water into Kingston Harbor and the surrounding harbors and bays there on the eastern part of that country. All right, let's look at the 5 p.m. advisory and hear what you see. 65 miles per hour is the estimate. Now that was not measured by hurricane hunters. That was estimated because the satellite presentation is becoming more obviously related to a stronger storm. So they make the estimates off of that. And that's what they're estimating right now, 65 miles per hour. Because the wind is estimated to be higher, the pressure is estimated to be lower. So we're awaiting the aircraft to go in there. A NOAA aircraft is coming out of Florida. There'll be another Air Force Reserve aircraft in there later on, and we'll get the updates here this evening. And now moving to the north, so kind of back on track of the way it was expected to go in the first place, drifting north. But the idea is that it's going to head on off to the west here pretty soon when it gets picked up by high pressure building to the north here. Not a whole lot of it, just weak high pressure, but it will move it.
All right. Now, we are giving those hints to you, Jamaica, to please take the necessary warning. And for those people who are in low-lying areas, right? Please, particularly people who are in low-lying areas, right? They need to definitely get out of that space, literally get out of that space, right? And take away, because you hear the comparison between a category 1, right, and a category 2. This is a category 4, and which, you know, appears to be even much more serious. So people are to take the necessary warning, right, in terms of this system, right? I can't believe that, you know, even I went on some platform and I heard persons saying that, you know, storm come and they never go anywhere and they are not going to leave and so forth and so forth. They need to know that this system is traveling very slow, right? And it's getting more powerful. So once again, we are pleading to all those persons in low-lying areas, please,
And those that are prone to mudslides,
leave those areas, right? Now, earlier today, we talked about, you know, the reaction, the continuous reaction by the Jamaica Labour Party administration, particularly dealing with, right, tropical storms and flood situations and so forth and so forth. And there's nothing done. When you consider that the Jamaica Labour Party at the helm for going 10 years, just imagine in terms of what I'm saying here, 10 years, knowing to the fact, melting pot, that Jamaica, right, sits within an hurricane belt, knowing to the fact that, of course, right, we have hurricane season because of the hurricane belt that we located in. So every year, you understand, we have to anticipate, you understand, for such thing. But yet, from 2010 coming upward, right, under the administration of the Jamaica Labour Party, nothing been done. They are just reacting, right? And so then today we have the system now challenging with the drain system. We are seeing inclement showers causing those systems to have already, right, failing. And remember, the storm doesn't reach landfall as yet. And those systems are just failing away. So just imagine in terms of what you are saying. Let me just give some examples of what I am talking about and where people are giving us information as what is happening. Now let us go to, okay. All right, let us go to some videos and show, right? No, Jamaica, before we get there, now let us talk about political representation. And ask yourself the question, why would you vote for a politician? Whether you're voting in your local government election for a councillor or a mayor, or you're voting in your general election for members of parliament, one commonality is that you're voting for what we call political representation. And what you want in terms of that particular member is that when that particular member speaks to you, you are getting truthfulness. Because, you know, Jamaican people, when you have a member of parliament that, you know, build his character and good morals and ethics, and you can trust that member of parliament, then it's more than a welcoming thing. But when you have not only a member of parliament, an entire administration, like the Jamaica Labour Party, that you cannot trust. Let us tell you how serious the politics is. You cannot trust. And one of the reasons why you cannot trust this administration, because obviously the one who leads this administration is what we call pathologically mendacious, diabolically mendacious. The man is a liar. And so then it spread throughout his administration. And so then members of parliament within his administration feel the need that they can come out and they can PR their way out of situations. Tufton feel that he can PR his way out of situations because the prime minister, you understand, agree with him to do that. Desmond Mackenzie believe he can come out and he can PR himself out of a situation because he represents a kleptocratic government. This is bad for our politics. Now, just imagine, we have a situation like this, which is very serious. And here is a political representative blatantly went on a platform addressing the nation and totally deceive the nation knowingly that he's doing it without any hesitation. Play the clip on it. This is vicious. This is vicious. This is vicious. And enough is enough.
So the Ministry of Local Government don't hold on any money. And what they are not telling the country and telling their municipalities, that there are 13 schemes of own source revenues that the municipal corporation have at their disposal, that nobody can tell them how to use that money. They determine how their own source revenues are used.
Mr. Mackenzie argued that he won't be bullied by people who he said only want to create mischief.
Look at the state of your administration of your municipality first before you start to pass remarks and make statements which you cannot substantiate. And when you're talking about the ministry not giving them money, in the new salary arrangements, and I have to get it off my chest because if I don't, it's going to kill me. In the new salary arrangements, we invited every municipal corporation to the ministry.
This included mayors. Mr. Mackenzie said they were asked for feedback.
And everybody get up in the meeting and say, we are satisfied with the structure. As a matter of fact, we got more than we asked for. And we glad for this structure that we have gotten.
He stressed that money is issued once programs are submitted.
So they can talk about local government not giving them anything. Every month, $500 million or more dollars is sent to the municipal corporation for roads. And I have reached breaking point on this matter. Because I think They are dishonest.
From Are the Lions,
Mighty
TVJ
God,
News.
Daniel. Mighty God of Daniel. No. Believe you me, Jamaica. If I wasn't a Jamaican, I'm just listening to Desmond Mackenzie, it would be difficult for someone to tell me that he's not lying. I mean, with a straight face and with the level of seriousness, knowing that every single word out of his mouth is a lie. Jamaica, this is what I'm saying to you. Let us put the politics out of this. Enough is enough, man. This is dangerous. And Andrew Holness is the king orchestrator of this. On one platform, he brought up in one bedroom house, very serious when he's saying it. On another platform, he grew up in two-bedroom house, very serious when he's saying it. And the level of political trickery, deceitfulness, dishonesty, corruption coming out of this administration. Jamaica, enough is enough. Now, let us play the next clip, right, for justification. Right? Let us play the next clip for justification in terms of, you know, when you understand the level of evil, the level of demons. Desmond Mackenzie, trust me, man. Believe you me, go to the pit of hell, you're a liar. Mighty God.
Released from the People's National Party Media Unit.
This is Natalie Nita Garvey, Shadow Minister on Local Government and Participatory Democracy. I'm issuing an urgent call to the Minister of Local Government, Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, to release the September Parochial Revenue Fund allocations immediately. Tropical Storm Melissa demands a comprehensive drain cleaning program for which the Minister himself designated these funds. Yet, the councils have received nothing. This haphazard disbursement of funds is preventing critical maintenance work. My consultations with mayors and minority leaders across the country confirm constant lateness in transfers from the Ministry of Local Government to the local authorities. This situation poses a high risk to property and life, as the last exercise of drain cleaning was done in June 4 months ago, which in itself was inadequate. This has formed a wider path of a cash crunch, where local government authorities have to be subsidizing salaries coming out of the recent review of compensation. Despite government pronouncements, if basic works like drain cleaning are not done, the people face dire consequences. Minister Mackenzie is currently presiding over a cash-strapped system. Unless he acts urgently, the local government system is heading back to the crisis of the 1980s.
Visit our website at pnp.org.jm or check us out.
My brother Melting Pot.
Yes, my brother.
I've known you have listened to both clips.
Yeah.
And I know you have heard Desmond Mackenzie said on a monthly basis, right? Municipals have gotten money. But to the contrary, as it relates to what our comrade sisters is saying,
Natalie Nita
Natalie is saying,
yeah,
right, that they are not in receipt of any money, right, from June.
Right.
Now you tell me, Melting Pot, you tell me, Desmond Mackenzie would have known that there was no money issued, but yet came out with a bare-faced lie telling Jamaican people, this man is to put into the political wilderness. What say you on the matter, Melting Pot?
Well, I mean, I feel that's what you just said. You need to go into the political wilderness, yeah? Because not just Natalie Nita Garvey is complaining, Rosemary Shaw, and even the mayor, Norman Scott, you know, and several other PMP comrade member of parliament, like Chris Brown and all these member of parliament, yeah? So we know that they haven't done anything to, you know, disburse funds to the entities that requires it, yeah? Because there's no money in the country. And this is what they fail to really communicate with the Jamaicans. You understand? Rather than playing devil's advocate, yeah, as it relates to when people make comments reference towards not being given money to do work that should be done, yeah, just come out and tell the truth. Because we know what is happening in the country as it relates to the finance of the country. It is in a bad state of affair. Because all the money was used, you know, to show up their support in vote buying in the general election, which just held in September. And so it has left a big hole, yeah, in the tax treasury funds. There's not left there. Everything was taken out. So Deadman Mackenzie, rather than, you know, putting on a stiff jacket face and come out and a tell lie, you need to be transparent. Because, I mean, we know the truth. As much as we are not in Jamaica, we know the truth. So when I hear him talk about, you know, he might forget off I'm chest, you know, the payment structure and all these things before it kill him. If Evelyn Tide Fire never kill him from 1980, this never kill him. This certainly won't kill him. The Evelyn Tide Fire is something that I know has rooted inside of him from 1980. But because I left that alone for the time being and move on to the pressing issue at hand. We are seeing a suppression and a victimization as it relates to government fund being allocated to the People's National Party representative. We know they are doing it blatantly, yeah? Because even though them scrape the kitty, there's still some in there, but what they are doing, they are using it primarily within the Jamaica Labour Party constituency, right? Because that's the Pernell Charles Jr. in a clean drain in a southeastern Clarendon. Yeah, and I know several more of them, member of parliament, yeah, get funding for the work. But I know where the People's National Party representative is concerned. None of them don't get the money. Because them playing a political victimization at the same time, not taking into consideration that this is a national crisis facing Jamaica and everywhere need to be looked at because GLP and PMP supporters live everywhere. But what they do is go into their stronghold constituency and spend the money and leave even other labor right to suffer. Them don't care. It's not a caring government. It's a government that prides itself on telling lies, tricks, and con the Jamaica society. And when anybody put the relevant question to them come out and say propaganda. Yeah. But we know what is propaganda. Propaganda is when we hear a guy like Deadman Mackenzie come, yeah, and I do press briefing and I make these allegations and trying to play, you know, himself as the victim. You know, nobody now victimize him. As Minister of Local Government, nobody now have to victimize him because everybody see what is happening in Jamaica as it relates to the landscape, how it look, how it shape, dilapidated road, dilapidated drainage, yeah, dilapidated wall system, sewage system and all these things. Garbage pile up and everything like that. So I don't know this affect Jamaica. But going back to what you said in your opening segment, This government is not a proactive government, it's a reactive government. Yeah. Because I mean, every government by now who is in charge of running Jamaica must be fully aware that we are in a hurricane belt region. And the hurricane season, Jamaica always gets some adverse weather condition.
Exactly.
So preparation must be in place to mitigate whatever circumstance that arise from these, disaster-prone situation. But with the Jamaica Labour Party, them use it for a political football. They play a game with it. They're not serious about running the country. What they are more inclined in, embracing is them lies, them trick, and them con, and the whole heap of shenanigans as it relates to the propaganda that them have to use to solidify that they are in the right when we know they are in the wrong. They are in the wrong because several things will point that out. Yeah, just look at the recent little, what you call now, squally shower. And the whole place flood out.
Exactly.
The whole place flood out. That is nothing, comparing to what is coming. What Jamaica will get from Melissa, whether it hit the island directly or it pass close by. Yeah. The span of the hurricane will bring torrential downpour on Jamaica land. And so the infrastructure must be prepared to contain the high influx of flooding. And without that being the general consensus, then say people house now are gonna be at the brunt tight. People business place are gonna be at the brunt because the water don't have nowhere to run off properly. So it went, and plus the earth is well saturated already. So it's not like the land will soak up most of this water now, This water
and melting pot. How much of our GDP might damage in the process? 1 or 2% is very significant for Jamaica.
Of course. And maybe we suffer more than that. We might suffer 5% of our GDP. Based on and because remember, they are comparing this hurricane to Gilbert.
Yes.
They are looking at something similar, I remember what Gilbert did. Gilbert came, passed, and turned back. A double jeopardy Jamaica did get from Gilbert. Enough people need to remember that. And we haven't seen anything like Gilbert since. So if this Hurricane Melissa is showing the same sign of what Gilbert did look like, mighty God help Jamaica.
And this is no joke.
And it's no joke. This is a serious conversation we're having tonight. This is no laughing matter. This is serious matter. And the people in authority must act responsible. They must act with responsibility. But they are lacking in that regard. Because, the hurricane season starts from June the 30th to November the 30th, So you must have contingency plan and measure in place to combat the hurricane season. If it come, a ginger, and if it not come, a root, because you prepare. You're proactive in that regard. Yeah? Now, the bulletin that is out, based on the hurricane having a wind speed of 165 miles per hour and 195 mile gust. Yeah? That show you say GPS have to turn off the light.
Exactly.
Must have to turn off the light.
Yes.
But here is the Minister of Education, Dana Morrison, talking about Google Classroom session and all these things. So just show you said these people are not equipped to run Jamaica affairs. Yeah? These people are some garbage. They lack the knowledge of how to run any entity. Some of them can't run them yard because Andrew don't run film yard, A size 13 run it. So when you have a prime minister who can run him yard and I'm wife I run it, you know it's a bad taste in the Jamaican mouth. That is a recipe for disaster because this man is not a leader. And so it, filters through the party. None of these member of parliament that form his cabinet, they don't take Jamaica job serious. They don't take the responsibility that the electorate give them serious. They see it as just a high-profile job that comes with disregard for work and service. And just collect taxpayers' money, rob taxpayers' money, and live a big life. Yeah? So sometimes some of these things have to reach Jamaica to show to the people them who we are talk to, say the country need a change of government. Say, yes, when we stick a melting pot and loan, some I say, a reality. See sniffing it, him hurriedly, I try to clean a drain where is a concrete bottom drain, But yet still the grass growing at high, that not clean from about 2016.
Bruh.
That not clean.
Crazy.
Because there's no way you can have that type of overgrown shrubs.
Exactly.
You understand? If that thing was being kept under a maintenance program.
Exactly.
Because these things must be kept under a maintenance program. It cannot be a crash program work. No, it has to be an ongoing process that you employ people island-wide to clean these facilities. Because not only hurricane season, that it merit cleaning, it also warrant to be kept clean at all times. So even if you have a flash flooding, it is there, ready and waiting to take away the influx of water that pour upon the land of Jamaica.
Definitely.
So these people are falling way below expectation and must be removed from office. Yeah? So as I say, I know God going to do the work the right way I'm supposed to do it. Because this is a God work. It's not a man-made catastrophe. You understand? The only repercussion that man have to do with this is where the government play for them part, where them not clean the drain.
Mm-hmm.
But we are come from the firmament of the Almighty work. And sometimes these things have to happen for people to take heed. You understand? Because you cannot have a government that does not pride itself on cleanliness. And under the Jamaica Labour Party, the entire Jamaica has run down. Run down to the extent where the city is covered with sewage. Raw sewage. You literally have see where you up the scene of the water. Toilet paper and feces. And it's greener than one of the best manicure where you call now park in the world. You understand, or a football field where you know them man they spend, so much time to keep it well manicured. I saw the water look green. You understand? And the stench from it, God Almighty to the killer all know from the time I build the ark. So me assure you say this government here lack cleanliness. Is a dirty government around the country. It's a nasty government around Jamaica. A government that has no civic pride. You understand? So this is not something new to we. We have seen it over the years. Yep, but it's worse. We have seen it now. It's worse. Yeah, because contractors have been not paid since Beryl 2024. And they are expecting these contractors now to come out and provide a service. The people are pushing back on that until they get the money. So I don't know who will lend them back on all these things, but I see Snippy, which is Pernell Charles Jr., down in a Clarendon Southeast, yeah? That look like Crown and Mitchelltown, Rocky Point region. I do some little work, some other work, yeah, with a couple of guys down in the drainage them. And them do PR, yeah, because them do the photo app, And them stand up there for the man well bossy like, him has something sent from above. Them they are criminal and nasty in the society. And them that we have to move to get Jamaica going forward. Because with them people there in our office, yeah, and the rest of them, Jamaica will not move an inch further than where it is. In any case, it will reverse. I yield back the floor. Yes, sir, Byron. Come in.
Yes. Thank you, Melting Pot, for that wonderful input. While we are discussing this situation as it relates to the performance of these members of parliament, right, who had gotten 200 and 300% raise, it's a failure. But let us remind the Prime Minister, right, what he said in terms of justifying their 200 and 300% raise. I know the people have to be dealing with this, right? Several months, right, after 200 and 300% raise being issued to these people, right, and where the Prime Minister spoke to Jamaicans that, okay, these politicians, they will do much better performance. Let us remind him of it. Now, without any delay on it, play that clip and remind the Prime Minister of it. And then we show, you understand, Jamaica, that it has gotten worse.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. No celebrations here. Government defense hefty pay increase for political directorate. JTA and Police Federation outraged by apparent inequality as their wage review issues continue. And later in sports, Windies A in control versus Bangladesh A in unofficial first test. I'm O'Shane Masters and here are the details. No celebrations over here. That's how Information Minister Robert Morgan described the mood in Cabinet and among government members of Parliament following the massive pay increase announced for the political directorate yesterday. Minister Morgan, who was speaking at post-Cabinet press briefing this morning, sought to justify the raise following uproar by public sector workers and concerned citizens. Jamila Maitland reports.
100%, 150%, 200%, and in the case of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, a more than 250% increase in salary effective April 1, 2023. And by 2024, a more than 300% increase compared to what he was earning in 2021. The announcement, which has been sending alarm bells across the island, the massive pay increase announced for the political directorate. Information Minister Robert Morgan, in justifying the figures, say they were arrived at by a decades-old policy.
The structure that was outlined many decades ago said that ministers of cabinet should be $53 above permanent secretaries. Permanent secretaries got a significant increase, which reached a particular level. We did not interfere with the structure that was operating for the last 20-odd years. So it's not a case where the government got up and said, okay, we're going to just give the ministers a massive increase. It is an increase that is predicated on the formula that has been accepted and used for the last 20-odd years in government.
But are the raises simply out of touch with the realities of the Jamaican society?
We're not celebrating an increase. The increase comes as part of a public sector transformation process.
Some unions are already criticizing the salary increases, comparing it to that of public sector workers like teachers, police officers, and healthcare workers. But Minister Morgan hit back, saying under the new regime, they too received increases. Now, he says greater pressure and scrutiny will be placed on the politicians to carry out their jobs.
The excuse of not being paid well is off the table. What needs to happen now, and the Prime Minister was very clear about it, is that MPs and ministers, and I think on both sides of the aisle, now have an ultimate responsibility to demonstrate to the people of Jamaica, even more than they were doing before, that we're working for them.
Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
Take that away.
Meanwhile, the People's National.
So the justification of the salary increase, as according to what he said that the Prime Minister stated, that going forward, members of Parliament will perform, will have solid performance to justify the pay increase. And so then, as it relates to members of Parliament, they cannot complain about good pay anymore. That is off the table. And so then, between then and now, look on the performance, my Jamaican people. This is one of the reasons why they are telling you not to take your information on social media, not to take your information from a mystic sensation, not to take your information from a melting pot, not to take your information from a lonesome, because guess what? They are getting the splitting truth. And the truth is like a deadly acid that burning them down. Now look now on the performance. Look, my Jamaican people, after giving them 200 and 300% increase, look on the performance. Let us get into the clip. Now look at this. And look at the disgrace, right? In terms of our drain that need to be cleaned. Right? Each constituency have councillors, right? And mayor, and in some instances mayors. But each constituency represented by a member of Parliament, right? That are to supervise proceedings where that is concerned. And just imagine the type of situation that we are seeing, right? The type of situation that we are seeing, right? That we need to definitely address. Because we are not getting the performance that the late Prime Minister, right, spoke about. Look at this clip, people. And look on the ear, look on the amount of shrubs that's in the drain. And them get 200 and 300% raising. Just look on the upkeep of our drain system. Look on the upkeep of our draining system. Just look at it. Look at that nasty mountain. Look at it. When you look on Colonel Charles Jr., right? He doesn't realize, the thing is not coming to his cranium, that what he is displaying, right, is years of neglect as it relates to the drain that he's displaying here. Overgrown shrubs is speaking to us the years of neglect. And the only time there seems like to spend some money is within the season. And so now they are just reacting. They are not doing anything. They are not upkeeping the drain system. No proper maintenance of them. Right? About yet to pay them 200 and 300% raise. These are the situations that we are talking about. The ripple effect that these things are going to have in extension, the loss of your property, the loss of your assets, damage to your property and all of that. And who have to fix it? Not them. You would have to fix it. As I spoke earlier today. But when you look at it and knowing that, okay, we doesn't have the economy to sustain the salary of members of parliament as it relates to what they are getting. $18 million. Come on, people, let us talk. $18 million per year. For what? For what? What are they doing? No proper upkeeping of any drain. No proper maintenance of communities. Nothing. Nothing. And just the macroeconomic expression that we have seen with China extending highway. You understand? It makes it look like the government is doing something. And people, the countries, Those programs were on trajectory from 2015 during Portia Simpson time. The Prime Minister is just carrying them out. My God, people don't have sense, no man. This government is not doing nothing. But why? As it relates to Portia Simpson time. That Portia Simpson has according to what? That Layard just stated. To look at the system and said, okay, all right, it is time now that politicians must get increase. Why Portia Simpson did not do that? Why PJ Patterson did not do that? Why Bruce Golding did not do that? Why Edward Seaga did not do that? Why Michael Manley did not do that? Why Bustamante did not do that? Why Norman Manley did not do that? It goes to show you the criminality of this government and try to justify their actions. That, okay, there was a system already slated. The fuck of the matter. It is not conducive to the economy. Are we producing? What are we producing? What are we producing? Show me how many things that we are manufacturing as it relates to our trade deficit. We are importing over $7.8 billion per year and only exporting $1.8 billion per year. Simple means a deficit, a trade deficit of over $5.8 billion. Then you are giving yourself such raise. And then the engine, the backbone of the economy, as it relates to the middle class, being neglected. The middle class being neglected. And that is one of the reasons why I don't like capitalism. That's the reason why I'm a democratic socialist. This is the reason why. Because they only look out for the elites. Right? Giving our beach properties away to Brian Jardim. And so then the PSOJ don't have nothing to say with the wrongdoing. But may I come to you later, Brian Jardim. Just for yourself. We'll come to you later. Now I could juggle down to show you and mash up the reason as to why them get this 200 and 300%. Go to the next clip, honey. Right? Now, just look at this now, people. Let me show you the reason why. You understand? We have a real serious problem with them people. Let us show you the years of neglect. Look here. I want to look on this now, people.
Our gully need cleaning.
Here says what? It's a recycle place this. I have some plastic bag for recycle. Yeah? Me want to know if I have some plastic bag for recycle.
Do any park gully need cleaning?
Here says what? It's a recycle place this.
Okay. So, That is what we are paying politicians for. That is what them get increase for. Andrew Honest, that is why you give them increase. What is your justification of the increase? Let me give you one more. If you think about, play the next one. That is what you trump, dip, rub from the citizenry. Wicked and cruel. You're monster, man.
Our police expect the car to move. What's your barrel? Come here, what now? Which one? Are the woman cars? Are the woman cars? And nobody don't want to get washed because it can't wash with that. Wash the people. Can't come out. No, sir. This is normal. Nobody can come out of them car. I don't know about whether this.
I know why it's up. I think why it's up, you know.
You look up in that car? Oh, no, straight in the line with the red one.
My Jamaican people, these are the things, these are the atrocities we need to take to mainstream media and ask the Prime Minister to explain to us the performance of the members of Parliament to justify their 200 and 300% raise. Now you see the reason as to why Andrew Holness look on a likes like Tufton and give him an award. Because he knows that he performed so terribly. But to protect and shield himself under a fictitious theme that they are performing and giving them a award that they don't deserve is to tell you that Andrew Holness is someone that came from the pit of hell. So based on what we are seeing with our eyes, we are not utilizing alternate reality, but we are talking about facts. Where is the performance that Andrew Holness can describe and match? The fictitious theme that the Prime Minister is creating, giving Glassport Brown award, while Glassport Brown stole democracy from the people. Giving Christopher Tufton award while Christopher Tufton damaged the healthcare to what? Shield the Prime Minister, that the Prime Minister administration had performed for reasons for 200 and 300% increase, and that he deserved it because members of Parliament within his administration being awarded under a false, evilous theme. Talk to me, people. Talk to me. This is madness. This is crazy. All of these, as it relates to Andrew Holness administration, need to go to prison. They need to go to prison, all of them. Let me yield back and put Melting back Pat in the space.
Yeah, man. You see, where we are look on the bug life come and talk about as it relate to him trying to justify the increase where them get. Yeah, and using a system where him say that is slated. Bug life don't know say him talk to people with common sense, you know. You understand? Because when bug life come out and make reference to the system, them manipulate the system. We know what the system is all about. it shows that politicians must have a difference of 53% in regards to permanent secretary. But if you increase the permanent secretary money them up to a level, then obviously your one have to go up 53% above that.
But tell them to go for idiot.
So I saw them create the high increase in salary by firstly increasing the permanent secretary them salary.
Exactly.
We know where them going with. Yeah. So bug life, you need to go one side, you know, and stop come and go on like you can't trick people of credibility. You can't trick the people who don't want education and knowledge in Jamaica. But we as Jamaican, we have interest in Jamaica. You can't trick we with nothing you come with, we rubbish that. You understand? This increase wasn't about performance. We know that. Because to the show. And people would have to be held accountable by the Prime Minister for lack of performance. So it wasn't about performance. It was about robbing Jamaica taxpayers' money to enrich themselves through means of becoming elected member of parliament. These garbage from the Jamaica Labour Party don't have no interest in working for Jamaica or the Jamaicans. You understand? Them working for themselves and them cronies. So we are going to rubbish that straight away. Yeah? And I'm glad how you touch on some award. But we see give out. Where the man them marred. When we say the man them do, the man them marred. The Heroes there. Honors List award. Plastered with corruption. All over. And the worst national heroes there. This ever kept in a Jamaica history. From the inception of awarding people and Heroes Day. I want to tell you what heroes them shame. Because when you draw some man and put them inside of them, some shit pit. Yeah, the real people them shame. Now, I go and say something. We know about Tough Tongue. And we know about Glasspole Green, aka Tadpole. I mean Glasspole Brown, aka Tadpole Green. We know of them. But there is another fictitious corruption award. There is this young lady that recently won a dinner award banquet to raise money for Andrew Wallace in Florida. She go by the name of Trisha Bailey. Yeah? And she get order of distinction for that, you know. Order of distinction for work for Andrew Wallace, not for Jamaica, you know. She not perform the works for Jamaica, you know. Yeah, she's not a champion of the people cause, you know. She's a champion of Andrew Wallace cause. And she get an award. It's an OD award. She get order of distinction for the work. Just put her on a dinner banquet and sell the ticket them at 2,000 in Florida. What is? This is a big nasty corruption, Andrew. Andrew take the Heroes Award and make it a mockery. You understand? Mockery. But when you look, you know, it just show you the people where Andrew get, yeah, from civil society. I put Tough Tongue aside, I'm a member of parliament. Just look upon them two people are from civil society. Yeah? Glasspole Brown, aka Tadpole Green, and Trisha Bailey. I heard them work for Andrew, you know. Because Tadpole work for Andrew and steal the election, put all ink out the day before for people use for sure say you vote. Yeah? Going forward, you know. All me, you know, I mean coming as Prime Minister, I take about them award here, you know. I take them award here from them recipient here. Of course. You can't come make a mockery of our Heroes Day celebration where we honor great Jamaican for service to the country. Them two award here a service to Andrew Wallace. And this Trisha Bailey girl that we have post up her thing, yeah, on TikTok, she need to look on herself in the mirror good and ask herself what she do. Yeah? She and her husband about now. I'm now honorable. Honorable what? You're dishonorable. You're a dishonorable individual who work for a criminal. So there's no honorable about you because you're working for a criminal. You just put on a dinner banquet. Overinflate the price, because I not pay the money there for the dinner, you know. I mean, if you can't cook. Yeah. And lead to Andrew Wallace. And you pick up a Audi award, order of distinction for doing what? All on a piece of shit, you know, una mash up Jamaica, you know, una help sink Jamaica. You, Trisha Bailey, you help sink Jamaica, you a piece of shit. You understand? Because under no circumstance, you're not supposed to get no Audi award for this. You understand? So we know that a flawed. And if me did ever I run for office and be Prime Minister of Jamaica the next time around, your award, me revoke that. Yeah, Tough Tongue Award, me take with that. Gladstone Brown Award, aka Tadpole Green, me move that from him and lock him up in a prison. So this is how we are going in Jamaica. Yeah? And this is how we are telling people them so to push back them the corruption, yeah. Them are blatant corruption. Yeah? You can't just do a dinner banquet and pick up a award. What can go so? I read an award, the man who clean the street. Them man they deserve award. Because sometimes all some stinking dead animal them have to move off of the street. And then people you get award. People who do real service to the country. The people who cook in Florida and hold a banquet, dinner banquet, and sell some ticket at some enormous price. And you give them award. Hey, this guy Andrew Wallace. Me I tell you man, you know. If me a sentence Andrew Wallace, you know. About 9,000 a year me give him, you know. And I joke business, because I just give him something. No matter if you even appeal, you can't live it out. You could have appeal, you could have gone in some plea bargain. You could have tell me where crab do and where Tough Tongue do, and where Pumbas do, and where Argentine do. You still are going to spend the rest of your life because you start you off at a 9,000 year sentence. Me have you something like where America dish out. This guy is dangerous. Yeah, I just saw him go around, you know. But one thing I want to show the people in Jamaica. Just look when Andrew Wallace win, when he thief the election. Yeah? We're there. And the first overseas trip, him gonna go beg. Him a beg donation. That alone tell us that the country broke. Andrew waste the money upon the election. We see the $1.4 billion where them take and run the election and carrying a couple of old garbage school bus. Yeah? We know about the drill money, same way. You understand? And then now, nothing left to carry the country forward, doing the people business. And so him fly out and go and beg. You know, see Andrew nastiness. You could have so much money and dash way and give people for vote. And as you steal the election, because you couldn't win the election with all the money. Because the people didn't make up their mind. Jamaican people didn't make up their mind, so you had to go. So you do all the type of things that you know can keep you in a power. And one thing, because you know you keep the people hungry. Yeah? Because that is a motto way now in the party, you know. Keep them hungry, see I will tell you that. Yeah? And you use a same mechanism there. And rob the election. And rob your seat from Paul Buchanan. You understand? And then fly out and beg. Fly out and beg, you know, my people. The first overseas visit the man go up and after him steal the election. Is beg him go beg. But yet still you have a garbage like bushrat. Come out and say them have money. When we know them not have no money. The liquor what them have, I feed them people them agree. Yeah? But remember Jamaica is an island, you know. And everywhere need addressing. Jamaica is not a constituency, it's an island. So everywhere need looking after. People live everywhere. Yeah, people live everywhere. Well, prove to me in no uncertain manner Say this government charge, the whole entire them need to get arrested and charged. Just look where Michelle Charles go on within a St. Thomas with a piece of road where nobody no live. I yield back the floor because we have to touch that little more.
All right, a blessing, Melting Pot, for that. Now let us touch some campaign financing, right? Because that is a serious issue as well. But we have seen the PSOJ now join as it relates to what the GenSec now is seeking some answers from the people's from the Jamaica Labour Party. Let us get into that and double into that. Without any delay, let us put up that document. Now, this is very serious with the Jamaica Labour Party, right? It's just a criminal, it's just a rogue government, right? Rogue government, right? A criminal network in power and continue wanting to be in power, right? The people have been politically sabotaged. This is a crisis proportion, you know, crisis proportion. And this system, again, is going to reveal, you understand how corrupt this government is. The PSOJ looking into CIMEX payment to JLP. Now the PSOJ, you run out. We don't want to hear nothing from you in a PSOJ because you're a big old hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. So you're running out now. What it means? It doesn't mean nothing at all. The private sector organization of Jamaica, who is a big hypocrite, has indicated that CIMEX payment to the governing Jamaica Labour Party has reignited concerns around campaign financing. Look on you. Look on you, PSOJ. We are looking at it, said PSOJ President Seaga in an initial response to queries. However, the organization had declined to provide further details at this time. You must decline. You understand? You're part of the corruption. You're not part of the corruption. I would prefer not to comment just yet, he added. Yeah, we don't expect nothing from you. You understand? We didn't even expect you to come out and say anything. You understand? Because we're not corruption, you know. It is widely understood that large companies contribute to both major political parties, and so they start to come now with a nastiness here. Right on this line here. That's what try to show you saying. When it comes to only in a PSOJ, you understand, and the level of corruption where Andrew, why you address this? Why are you not addressing that Andrew Holness is at the helm of our government and his statutory declaration cannot be certified? See where you start to mix it, your nastiness. It is widely understood that large companies contribute to both major political parties in Jamaica. I divert now, you are diverting. You take time divert now that now people, you understand the CIMEX, the CIMEX thing now is not too much to look into. You understand, because guess what? This is how you are corrupted. Right? You think you can trick anybody? Coming out like you are addressing a situation. You understand? You are demons. Have I heard anything from the PSOJ? You understand? Saying to Andrew Holness that it is wrong as it relates to his statutory declaration cannot be certified going 3 consecutive years. Have you said that? Why are you coming out about CIMEX? Why are you coming out about CIMEX? The renewed scrutiny follows a request from the opposition People's National Party on Wednesday seeking answers from the JLP because it looked bad. But we don't want to hear nothing from you, PSOJ. Please, you understand? Get DBI, Satan. We don't want to hear nothing from you. As of publication, the Financial Gleaner has not received a response from the ruling party. You understand? No response is not going to come. Take this away. You understand? PSOJ. You? No want to hear nothing from you, Mr. Seaga. Nothing we don't want to hear from you. So, Mr. Seaga, let me show you something again. What you should have run out and talk about. Now let us look, right, as it relates to, you are talking about CIMEX. Look on wallet. But the JLP, you understand, run administration in all of the cash plus, in all of the Ponzi scheme them. Have we heard anything? Have we heard anything from you, PSOJ? No, put it up on it. Right? Court document says Olin gave JLP US $5 million. See it here? PSOJ, why not talk about this? See there? Court document says Olin gave GLP US $5 million. Jamaican Labour Party has admitted that Olin's David Smith was one of its contributors for the 2007 election campaign. But the GLP says it will be investigating the claim in a Turks and Caicos Supreme Court document that Smith had donated $5 million US. The court has issued a confiscation order that mentioned the gift to the GLP. Right, take this away. You understand? PSOJ, that's what we talk about. That is what you need to talk about. Right? An administration, a political administration that find itself within all Ponzi schemes in Jamaica. And what are they doing? Robbing Jamaican investors. Andrew Wallace is the CEO for all of them.
Yeah, man.
Now, when you look, an administration involved in criminality, knowing very well that these institutions, they are Ponzi schemes. The CEO of the Ponzi scheme, which is Andrew Wallace, sits at the helm of our government, benefited by robbing Jamaican investors. Am I lying? Am I lying? Found himself into Cash Plus. Found himself into Wallet. And where Wallet take $5 million US from investors and give it to who did Wallet give it to? Jamaica Labour Party administration. And where Andrew Wallace personally has an account in Cash Plus, Wallet, and SSL. And without a doubt, money within SSL was used to finance both 2020 general election and 2016 general election. So we have a Ponzi scheme government in power. And people don't see that. This is dangerous to our democracy. United States of America like to have him there to continue to suppress the development of black people. You think they want to see us develop? That's why they crush democratic socialism. Because it must not be successful. Because the black people will be independent of crony capitalism and neocolonialism. So they love what Andrew Wallace is doing. And Andrew Wallace know that. So then he's put here to damage our education system, damage our health care, and issuing out award. It like when the King of Spain, the Queen of Spain sent out pirates to rob on the high seas and award them. That is what is happening now. The level of criminality as it relates to the Jamaica Labour Party. And show you how the corruption set. Because Zara Burton had done an investigation and was asking the election committee, the electoral commission. Right? But Glassport Brown has no interest in terms of cleaning the election list, the amount of dead people on it. And he has done nothing because he's going to use it to fabricate a win for Andrew Holness. Zara Burton was peaking on it. Now, let us go to 18 degrees now to highlight some of the concerns that Zara Burton has. Put no tax. Yes. Look at this. Why isn't the Electoral Commission of Jamaica requiring that contributions to politically connected foundations be declared? Right? No. You see, they don't want it. Right? Where the Electoral Commission should push towards it. And so it is important because you'd have seen Cash Plus, you'd have seen Olent, you'd have seen SSL sponsoring the Jamaica Labour Party. Another Drugs done sponsoring the Jamaica Labour Party. Now look at this. As of March 7, political parties and candidates would have been able to start accepting campaign donations for Jamaica next general election due by September 2025. According to the Representation of the People's Amendment Act 2016 ROPA, not only are all candidates required to report contributions and expenditures of their campaigns, but contributors who donate, right, $250,000, right, in the US 1,728 or more, are those who get government contracts at or above 500,000 must also make a declaration. However, the published guidance from the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, right, on March 4 merely stated that contributors are required to declare contributions to a political party or candidate without extending this requirement to the foundations of the candidates or political parties. This omission is concerning because since 2023, 18 Degrees North has been sounding the alarm that such foundations, often bearing charitable names, could be used as a loophole to bypass these reporting requirements. Right? For the 2020 general election, the first one where strict requirements for reporting contributions came into play. Right? The ECJ stated when asked, none of the candidates or parties listed any foundations in their disclosure reports. And yet, in an interview early in 2023, Tourism Minister Edwin Bartlett conceded that very little of his East Central Scholarship and Welfare Fund was used for political purposes. When reminded about that conversation and asked months later on August 14, 2023, how much was set aside for that use, he said in a WhatsApp message, he didn't recall. Understand the corruption? But we don't really use that source for campaigns. He continued. I don't have the exact amount, but believe me, it must have been inconsequential as the fund doesn't have enough to use for campaigns. His foundation raised what? $29.6 million, $204,537, and spent $24 million, mostly on scholarships, according to the financials filed at the company's office for 2020, the last general election year. In July 2024, 18 Degrees North was also able to show how the tax-exempt foundation of then Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, Growth and Opportunity Trust Limited, took in more than 91 million in the people from unexplained sources between its inception in 2018 and 23. And most of that money was raised and spent during election years. Want to hear that? So all of that, that the so-called charity company collected is to fund the campaign, right? But who gave them that? No one knows, They don't highlight that, He publicly described the foundation as my foundation, even after resigning as a director in February 2020. While this is not proof that the foundation was in fact used for election purposes, observers agree that there is enough information about its fundraising and spending trends to warrant scrutiny. When you look on these people, see it here. Nigel Clark Foundation, 2018. Watch out. $27.8 million. Election year. Election year, this is the people. The election year people, 2018. Right? Now, after election year, what happened? 15.5 million. See, we shot it reduce. Right? 10.3 million. What's the next election year? Look how much. $35.3 million of people. Look at that. $35.3 million. Where did they get the money from? And for what favors? The SSL entity. Investors being robbed. You see, this is the reason as to why they don't want the Kroll report to release. This is the reason why the Kroll report has not been released, because you will see millions of dollars that manage these accounts that manage in SSL by Darrell Vaz. Darrell Vaz has control over many JLP accounts in SSL for the purpose of funding general elections. And so then one have to understand, this is the reason why they cannot question you cross-carry. They can't question you cross-carry. Because really and truly, you cross-carry is only a front man. But the real operators is the JLP administration. The real operators are the JLP administration, including Darrell Vaz, who managing these accounts in SSL. Take that away. Take that away. So Jamaican people, when you see the level of corruption, right? Again, this is what the Jamaica Labour Party administration present. Melting Pot, your take on the matter.
Well, my take on the matter is that I go and rubbish Mitri Seaga. It's a piece of shit that I run out. So I represent PSOJ as the president. He's a garbage, you know. We don't want to hear nothing from him, you know.
Exactly.
Because he's one of them where I do illicit business in Jamaica. Yeah? And them boy, they forget investigated and charged. Them are bigger than the line of our country. Him continue when father left off with him corruption skill when I utilize in Jamaica and come out and chat shit to the Jamaican public. You understand? Him can't talk to we, no mistake.
Exactly.
Him cannot, because we have the whole articulated evidence that what them are going with as it relates to them corruption. Now we all know that CMEX is a parent company of Carib Cement, and them also have 50 other companies worldwide. So CMEX not new to doing party donation. You understand? Party donation and not illegal. Let me make that straight. But in the case of this $201,538 US, that was not a party donation. That was a kickback money that them sent to Andrew Wallace and the Jamaica Labour Party. All right. Here it is now. Yeah. We also know that CMAX does not operate the same book where Carib Cement operate as it relates to them transaction and whatever business them do. It is two separate entities with two different governance towards the running of this company. Now, we have to look upon the criteria. And the criteria now what we are seeing in front of it is that Carib Cement come out and categorically clarify that it has made lawful contribution to both parties, and that no fees was ever paid to any party. But in the case of the money from CBEX to the JLP, it comes as a fee. Now we know what a fee is all about, you know. If I want a lawyer to provide me service, I have to pay the lawyer fee. So I want to ask Andrew Holness and Mr. Seaga what service was provided to CMEX. That is the $1 million question that is on the lip of conscious, patriotic Jamaican who doesn't play politics with the country affairs.
Our melting pot, what potential contract CMEX is going to get?
Well, we know, and we see it, you know. We see it on the line payment. Okay. You understand? Yeah. We see a thing near mine.
Okay.
And me I look on that. You understand?
I need to ask, yeah.
No. It was stated that CMEX filed document with the United States Security and Exchange Commission, yeah, of $201,538 US, and that it paid the Jamaica Labour Party as a fee. Yeah, that filing was subsequently later removed. Why they move it? Because it is causing problem.
Yes, it's made known.
You understand? Yes. What is of major concern is that fees is for service. So the Jamaica Labour Party must now tell the Jamaican public what service did the party provide to CMEX. We need to know. Because party donation, you know, it have the law that govern it, you know. I remember say CMEX not just come on board. Them also have 50 other company worldwide. So they must have gone through these type of formality if they were donate to party, and they must know the procedure, just like Carib Cement.
Yes.
Carib Cement never hide the fact that them give both party donation, but it's done lawfully. Now in the case of CMEX, it's an unlawful money we see. I go to the Labour Party. So we want to know what it's for, because it come under the subject matter of fees. That's what we see. It dropped down under fees. Fees is for a service, my people. And so when Mr. Seaga come and I speak, like say, we, you know, him have some credibility to talk to people. Him not have no credibility. And them boy, they are bring the drugs in Jamaica and more, you know, illicit goods. Like guns and ammunition and the same big boys, them are do it. So then can come talk to when we see corruption and we are point out corruption. This a corruption. Money we pay to the Jamaica Labour Party. This is not a party donation. So the idiot blogger them, we are black for them. We are run out and I say PNP a part of the scheme. No, PNP no get nothing from CMEX. PNP get money from Carib Cement under lawful procedure, utilizing the 1944 People's Act law. Make me tell the shit them.
Ask them how much PNP get from SSL.
Well, I don't even have to bother because we go through it and we find it and we can't see no PNP I receive nothing, and them know that too.
Okay.
Yeah. Them know. We don't have to tell them. We tell them already. We search, we don't find comb, and we can't find one PNP each up nowhere in them comb teeth there. A bill labor right, we see each up in the comb teeth. The comb, we comb the corruption scheme. So we know what the Labour Party them plan all about. Them just plan to run the country under corruption, under mafiaism, and under Bandulu scheme. That's why you see Andrew front up himself in every Ponzi scheme. Him are the CEO And I glad you just tell the people them say them couldn't touch you Craskery, now Mark Craskery. Because them was on the poster boy. Them are no CEO. You understand? Them on the front that thing, Anjo business them there. Anjo learned the scheme from Paul Chen Young and Associate with Dan Crawford and moved the 30 million from Central National Bank give to Edward Seaga when Andrew did round Seaga. Him know everything how that go. You understand? So him privy to the idea of how you orchestrate them thing there. And him carry it out. Him carry it out. Cash Plus. Yeah. First Rock. SSL. And now we see him have a one name, Amber. People don't forget Amber. Amber, the latest Ponzi scheme where Andrew run. Big old laundry company with a big nasty coolie girl named Dushan Shavadi. I wash, you know.
I think was a big old nasty coolie girl.
Yeah, man. Imported from Asia, man. Because the amount of laundry where Andrew have to wash, you know. The Jamaican couldn't take up that domestic trade there, you know. So I have to go for a wash a girl from India named Dushanti Shavadia. You understand? I wash through Amber Group. I wash through there. So we make them know so we know where I'm going.
Exactly.
You understand? This is another secret. We are beat it, make the people them know. And we are teaching people them so them can learn and understand who is Andrew Holness and how he operate in Jamaica. The man have planned the scheme till it look bad. The man create them one after the other. You understand? And it look like he want list them under Victoria's Secret. But them are no secret. Them are no secret, Andrew. Them that bingo baggy. Everybody can see them big and nasty, the corruption. And another little petite Victoria's Secret thing, them here. Them are bingo baggy. Big nasty bingo baggy. Some of them look like all my granny flower bag from back 9 days. They're very obvious to anybody. Can't hide. You understand? So we have to just call it what it is. A spade is a spade. Can't be no clubs, no art, no diamond. Andrew a run Ponzi scheme till it look bad. And this was one of corruption agenda where you see money are left from CMEX to the tune of $201,538 US I come to the Labour Party. Listed as fee. Me never know the Labour Party I work for CMEX. Me think of the people in Jamaica it I work for. Me think of the Jamaican it I work for, but a CMEX it I work for now. You understand? So, Mr. Seaga, go one side, man. Nobody know why you're not from your piece of shit. You're a criminal in our place too. You have to leave a place. You understand? You have to leave a place. But you not leave until you take your prison sentence. I mean, I know if I do so, you go, finish your days in a little cell. Like a big boy, Real investigation for done for the whole, Real investigation. You think the little small youth them can carry out them type of corruption where I run through Jamaica? Like the River Nile? You know mad? Them are big boy doings. Cocaine, drugs bust, them are for them one. The gun and ammunition trafficking are for them one. That's why you see them lick head with places like Colombia and Mexico now. Them no want to do nothing with CARICOM, Them leave CARICOM there, man. CARICOM too small for them. CARICOM now what them want. What them want are what we are telling about. Drugs trafficking and gun trafficking and anti-panky deal where you sell the country asset and collecting a fees. So me I make it be known tonight. Because me not like them things we are going in my country. We are one boy. A little nasty piece of shit like oldness. When you come from the way we should have the ghetto people them interest at heart. But Andrew will sell ghetto people down the drain. And blink and power with big wigs. Yeah. And then when time comes, him set back him thing in order. Him come ghetto people hand out. Yeah. And then I last time you see till another period come around. But my ghetto people don't have to wake up, you know. You have to wake up to the reality of Andrew Holness madness we are going in Jamaica. It cannot benefit you people in Jamaica. The labor rights them I'm speaking to specifically. Because the comrade them already understand what it is to be patriotic and how fundamental it is to be a democratic socialist member. Because socialism brings people together. Capitalism, we don't have a lot of part with that, man. After we're not big. You ever see black people rise up to the state of capitalism and capitalists? You know, mad? Just look who front up the capitalists and the capitalism in Jamaica as some light-skinned color boy then. Get this now, no ticket in Jamaica. Look on them image. And I not look like we dark-shaded color people. You have to light and your ear have to be silky with curls inside of it. Not coarse like ours. But yet still, when you find yourself embedded with a party that has no agenda for black people. I want to keep running around like headless chicken behind a boy when tail full of shit like cow. Andrew Holness full of shit. Andrew and nobody. Andrew and no prime minister material. And he's not surplus to requirement where Jamaica land we love is concerned. He is a criminal. A very big criminal at that. And he must be held accountable. Under all circumstances, Andrew must be at the justice table. And I yield back the floor to my brother.
Well said. And let us tell Jamaica now, in terms of where we are going, that for those who believe that we have money, the country is broke. We are not asking that. We know that. The country is broke. Now let us prove it. Let us prove it. Now let us lift up this booming economy, broken people. Let us get into that.
How can a country be booming on paper, yet broken in spirit? The debt is cut by more than half. The job market is stronger than ever. Crime is down. Foreign reserves are at record highs. But ask the average Jamaican on the street how they are doing. And many will tell you something you won't see in any report. We're still suffering. This is the paradox of Jamaica's economy, and it could decide the next election. The beautiful numbers. Let's talk numbers. Impressive ones. Jamaica's debt used to be 144% of GDP. Today, it's 68%. That's the best it's been since independence. Unemployment, 3.5%. That's nearly full employment. Never seen before. The country is sitting on more than $5 billion in reserves. Inflation is stable. The Jamaican dollar, holding firm. The government has passed 9 budgets without adding a single new tax. Crime is at a 25-year low. Roads are being fixed. More homes are being built. The PATH program still supports the poor. This is the kind of economic resume that would make any government proud. But many Jamaicans aren't celebrating. They're hurting, and some are not quiet about it. Let us be clear. We agree with Prime Minister Andrew Holness that the state of the economy is a big deal. It must mean something. We must find a way to get people to understand. But we cannot ignore the people's reality. The Prime Minister understands that too.
These achievements are phenomenal and uncontestable. However, we also hear and pay close attention to the feelings and realities of many Jamaicans who have suffered through the global spike in inflation over the last 3 years due to the COVID pandemic and the supply chain shock. Food, electricity, transportation, medication, and other basic amenities have become unaffordable for many. I hear your cry regarding the cost of living. Though the number of Jamaicans employed is at the highest it has ever been, the minimum wage has been increased, and wages generally have increased. We understand that wages have been so low for so long that there is still pent-up pressure, despite the efforts of the government to create the economic environment where more Jamaicans can have income and inflation is controlled.
Let me talk to Jamaica. Jamaica, you know the reason why I play that? To tell you the lies Statin and other institutions in line with the Prime Minister is saying, and on paper, everything look good. On paper, the lowest unemployment rate. Is it a reality? This is the reason why I play it. Is it a reality? The way how they put it on paper, the lies that they told, and the capitalist, the neocolonialist, head to kind report and put it out there to say the economy is doing well. And Prime Minister Andrew Holness singing it. And so then you see the reflection of the awarding, right? At the ceremonial award, giving Tufton, right? You see, when you see all these things, the facade that they are selling a lie. Many Jamaicans are suffering. The truth about the matter is that what they're putting out on paper is definitely a lie. A paper from the PIOJ, the Planning Institute of Jamaica, saying that poverty has reduced from 18% to 9%. Jamaica, my Jamaican people, you know that's a lie. More people are in poverty. How could they come up with that result when they are not utilizing any census? I want you to get it. I want you to think, my Jamaican people, that if the PIOJ coming out and said poverty shift from 18% to 9%, ask yourself the question, how could they get such report when they are not doing any census? From 2017, there is no census being done. So how could these reports be true? They are not. They are not. Lies upon lies. And so then, as it relates to that report that I played, showing you how pretty it is, but the reality of that report is saying all of that is on paper, but in reality, it is far from what being stated on paper. Now look on the truth as it relates to this next clip. Right? Let us look at the truth. And the truth is going to be expressed. Look at this. Let us read, my Jamaican people. Ronald tweets, delusions about growth. You hear the topic, my Jamaican people? Delusions about growth. Let us get into that. Last week, an editorial in this paper prescribed how Jamaica could resurrect the prospect of a 5% annual GDP growth. Helpful fiscal measures and issues of social reform were put forward. Now, this is an appropriate effort in the circumstance of a renewed political administration and the elusiveness of even half of that much touted target. Now listen, Jamaican people. Sadly, the plan has put forward, like all previous iterations, is bound to fail. Why is it bound to fail? This is certain because the strategies downplayed the critical roadblock of low labor productivity. Listen, people. Listen, Jamaican people. This is certain because the strategies downplay the critical roadblock of low labor productivity. Now, increasing the capacity and output of working people is the main antecedent requirement for every other element of growth. And that is true. Not technology, people. Now, under the subtopic hiding, the nation continues to hide from ourselves that somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 of our school leavers each year are at worst profoundly illiterate, innumerate, and ill-socialized. At best, barely able to navigate the signs, signals, and attitude essential to productive life. How could correcting this have been left out of the growth requirements? What prosperity can grow from the foundation of a population which is more than 1/3 functionally illiterate and innumerate? That's the question. Question not asked. Don't we ask ourselves why it is that Chinese workers are imported rather than relying on local tradesmen? Why? Or why the knowledge outsourcing sector cannot attract contracts requiring complex skills? Why is the health sector dependent on recruits from everywhere? Now look, what pat ourselves on the back at marginal improvements in grade 4 PEP results, ignoring the evidence that such satisfactory ratings reflect memory rather than ability to read. Several of the illiterate students we contacted with a grade 7 got acceptable standing in grade 4, but were never exposed to phonics, letter sound recognition, nor ever required to read aloud and be tested for comprehension. All the boasting about percentages camouflage the gaps in practical competencies. I remember being assured in 2014 or 2015 that we had achieved 85% satisfactory performance in grade 4 literacy. That did not prove to be so, as those students were placed on the treadmill of automatic promotions. Most graduated with nothing. That is still the case. I challenge the ministry to publish the full 2025 CSEC, CAPE, and City and Guides results. Self-delusions and deliberate suppression of reality infect everything. As a topical aside, we lament road victims clogging the health system and cemeteries, but fail to acknowledge the inevitability of this carnage when there is no strict, incorruptible system of driver education, nor any mandatory retraining as corrective for infractions. If you can't read or not of tested behavioral normalcy, you should not be issued a rider's or driver's permit. Who is dealing with that? Who is dealing with that? Realism in education. Last week, an experienced educator, Rutland James, helpful pointed out the obvious that the present segmentation of high school students into pathways effectively stream children into unequal and discriminatory outcomes, or straitjacket into the unwieldy national standards curriculum with grossly inadequate resources for the majority to strive. And yet, Andrew Holness is bragging about success. Let us read as it relates to what the manufacturers are saying in Jamaica. Let us now drive the point home in terms of what we are saying. This is what coming from the manufacturers. Now let us look at this, because this is fundamental. Manufacturer says Jamaica economy in worst position ever. And yet we have seen a report telling us that never before the unemployment rate is at the lowest. That this administration moved the poverty rate from 18% to 9%. And that we control the dollar, which we know is a lie. The United States dollar is now what? $160. Jamaican for $1 US. All lies. While the reality is rolling out. This is what the manufacturer says. Jamaican economy in worst position ever. Can we sing that loud so that they can hear? Blames poor policies. But yet you have seen PSOJ coming out. Statin coming out. The economic ambush by these institutions telling lies. While the reality is bearing out, the people are living the reality. Let us play it and let you hear it.
I'm not saying I'm not blaming the commercial banks, because they have a big part to play in lowering their rates. But what I'll say to you, just like any other businesses operating out there, when you have a devalued currency and the dollar moves to 165 or 162 to 1, and you buy your goods and services or your raw materials and you bring it in, it takes a while for the pass-through effect to take place. So I'm not sure how the banking sector operates, and if there's what they call a timing thing that needs to happen. But, you know, yes, the Bank of Jamaica needs to pressure them, but I think more needs to be done to get our rates and policies in place to allow banks to lend money, to allow businesses to be competitive on the global sphere. Everything's going to start going haywire, and I'll tell you something, the government better call election quickly, because the balloon is about to blow. The economy is in the worst position that I have ever seen it in my 30-odd years of business. The buying power is the weakest, remittances are down, tourism is struggling, everything is struggling. And what are we doing? We're doing things to stifle the economy with our monetary policies coming from the Bank of Jamaica and the Ministry of Finance. People out there that are living and working in Jamaica may all seem fine and dandy when the politicians step out on stage and speak high and mighty of how great the economy is doing. But look at how many hungry people are out there that are struggling, how many businesses are finding it hard, right? So we need to start waking up the government, the opposition.
Take that away. Sad to say that Jamaica did not wake up. They put back Andrew Holness in power. So while he's singing songs on paper, lying on paper, the reality is different on the ground. Melting Pot, what say you on the matter?
Yeah, my take on the matter is that, as usual, you know, Andrew Holness lied to the Jamaican people. Yeah? And I mean, you know, people that we employ in a civil society is aiding and abetting Andrew Holness in doing the wrong thing to Jamaican citizens. in telling lies about Jamaica state of affairs. Because, you know, how can a government reduce poverty by 50% when the economy only grew by 1% at the time when Andrew Holness, with the help of Wayne Henry, who is responsible for providing statistical report from the Planning Institute of Jamaica. Oh, under what circumstance Andrew Holness and Wayne Henry come up with this figure of 50% reduction in poverty, bringing poverty from a high of 18% to a low of 9%. Oh, how that happen?
Can never
happen. And we're going to show the people why that is a lie. Jamaica, yeah, a country that import $7 billion item, but only export a meager $1.8 billion. Yeah, that show a deficit of $5.2 billion. So operating on that scale, yeah, it shows say under no circumstance, you can have an unemployment rate of 3%. Can't. Because it simply show that you are not manufacturing nothing in your country. Yeah, that is why your export bill is harboring under $2 billion. But your import over $7 billion. So nobody now work. That's why your export bill is so low. That's why your turnover so low. Because no job no there in the country. So you can look upon a youth where hustle with a plastic bag with some juice in it, yeah? And because I'm out there and I'm try to achieve something, you classify him as being employed. Him not employed, him is a hustler. Him is a hustler. Where you, the same government, even suppressing on the street when him a hustle by harassing him with some fictitious people. What we see in our society and mash up the vendor then. You understand? Because a man with a style, you know, God bless him turnover. It can't provide for him and his family. A hand-to-mouth system, him a function pan. But Andrew have him now as somebody employed. Now we have to ask ourselves the question, you know. The fundamental issue what we are looking upon is that between Andrew Holness and Wayne Henry, them to go to prison to tell lies. Because the two of them know so them have no census from 2011. And a census are what give you these figures. So you can come out and report to people. So even the officer of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, this boy Wayne Henry desecrated. Because it's a lying institute of Jamaica that not plan for Jamaica. That a lie to Jamaica. How poverty to reduce 50%. And how in our country we now do not turnover in terms of manufacturing and people now work because we export bills. Yeah, would that show? Who not want?
And Melting Pot, if you don't do any census, so yeah. on what matrix did you do your calculus on?
Well, on a lie metric.
Okay.
That's what it calculate for you know. We are gonna lie to the public. Because them now have no other mechanism for use, you know. Because them not done the census. Exactly. Jamaica has completed a census since 2011. It's a far cry. This is why them can't come tell us, say them know for certain what is the population figure. And them can't tell you say how much people employ in a real job. Them can't tell you how much people are got them bed hungry. But United Nations can tell us. And United Nations figure never look like country figure as it relates to poverty.
No.
It's well high.
Well high, yes.
Of course. Near to 100. 70% of Jamaican go to them bed without a proper meal that constitute poverty. Nastiness and Jones and Wayne Henry. Get this now, no ticket. United Nations know for a fact. But uno come out and chat crap to the people in the country. Telling lies. Using no means of tricking and conning the citizen of the country. That simply means uno insult the people in intelligence because uno have them as dunce. We can speak and they will listen and understand. And that method they uno work off. And look at people them through them love the licky belly lick thing. Them run behind uno and see so uno shit house. Uno not good. Uno garbage. Uno for dump man in a prison. Dump in a prison, you know. Not Riverton City. Uno garbage for prison. Because here it is every time Andrew take to the platform and say him address the nation, the spear lie him tell. And him have people in a civil society that is being highly played by the taxpayers who is aiding and abetting Andrew Wallace to tell the lies. Because if that guy Wayne Henry was of any credibility and say for a fact a matter that Andrew Wallace come out and say this, and him no say a lie, he would have come out and rebuff it and say, no, Mr. Prime Minister, this is not what we have at PIOJ. We have something different. But him coincide with it and him come out and speak on it. I never know a guy from the my Jamaican people. Sometimes you can't know when them tell lie and a trick, you know. You see people from them institution there, them not address the public. Them put out the information to the relevant authority and them speak on it. Not them come out address. That is just an institution who is charged with our affairs as it relates to our statistical figures. But them come out and speak like them a member of parliament and prime minister. Them are shit. Wayne Henry. Wayne Henry if you get charged and fling behind prison bar. Cause you help here than a bit Andrew all this corruption where I mash up Jamaica to the extent that Jamaica crash on its face. Can't move. Yeah, Andrew Wallace mutinate Jamaica to an extent that Jamaica now becomes, you know, retarded, pop down, broke down, run down by a corruption scheme. And people like me and Mystic, and we alone some, we not stand for them type of corruption there. Because on the salary, we want to have at no disposal, yeah, it's far, far more than where other members in a carry come and get where we work better for them people. And so we don't expect no corruption supposed to still a surface in a Jamaica. I hear big nose Andrew Wallace come out and talk. And so we can't perform yet because we don't pay properly. But now we have a big check coming to annually. And we underperform even worse than before we get the increase. A lie we still know we not use. A lie we not project, you know. Come like the people appear to tell lie. And that me soon I do. Me no soon I do nothing else. Every single thing we want to talk is lie. And so we have to hold on accountable because time comes for people start going to prison. And right now, we have to go upscale from where Damon Crawford said. You know, me no one by one, you know, me not bungle. Because we enough in the country. We can't one we do no man. The amount down the way languish in a Jamaica where each up in some corners and crevices. We are going to drown out. Because we know, no. We know, you know. We know the key players them, man, around the corruption ring, man. We know the high stake role of them, man. We have to pluck them out, not one by one. We have to take you into the bungle because a bungle when coming like tape room. Not nastiness, not germs. When it's not more than corruption. And I yield back the floor to my brother.
Well said, my brother. And let me say, Jamaica, let us mix a little geopolitics, right, with tonight's event. Because while Melissa, right, in the Caribbean, as it relates to going category 4, we have a next situation in the Caribbean developing, and that doesn't seem like it's hurricane, that seems like it's a tsunami developing. But I want to share with you people, serious tsunami. Now, look at this, my Jamaican people. Look at this. Top Admiral, here we go. Look at this. Because this is going to be very serious in the Caribbean. You know? Very serious. And to me, this is a tsunami developing right now. Now, people, this is what I want to share with you. Top Admiral steps down abruptly amid drug boat strikes. Now, here's the Admiral. Defense Secretary PTS Getz on Thursday announced that the top military official overseeing military strikes against alleged Venezuelan drug runners will retire at the end of the year. A surprising move given that the 4-star Admiral took command less than a year ago. Admin Alvin Usley, abrupt departure as head of U.S. Southern Command, which oversees U.S. military operations in Latin America, comes as President Donald Trump has conducted lethal strikes and against alleged Venezuelan drug trafficking vessels in the Caribbean Sea. U.S. forces have destroyed at least 5 boats since early September, killing more than 24 people. And Trump this week floated the idea of conducting land strikes against Venezuelan cartels, though he offered no details. Hexet, who announced the retirement in a post on X, did not give a reason for Usley's departure or immediately name his successor. He thanked Usley, hailed him as having exemplified the high standard, and said he demonstrated unwavering commitment to mission, people, and nation. In a statement issued by Southern Command, Usley said he will retire December 12, but didn't elaborate on the circumstances of his departure. But he praised Southern Command personnel for their lasting contributions to the defense of our nation. The sudden change at Southern Command is the latest shake-up for the military's senior ranks under the Trump administration. Now, the man doesn't agree in terms of what Donald Trump is doing. And now a war, right, seems to be probing in the Caribbean Sea. Now, let us look in terms of what PJ Patterson and Bruce Golding has to say about it. This is very serious in Jamaica. So while we are battling Melissa, right here, that Venezuelan war, right, that ought to happen as it relates to Venezuela and US, right in the Caribbean here. US has now moved their big naval ship to the Caribbean. Simply means that Donald Trump is deadlocked, heading to war with Venezuela. Now, watch this. Patterson and Golding among former PMs concerned about U.S. military action in the Caribbean region. Here they are. Here they are, and both men see eye to eye as it relates to the situation developing in the Caribbean. Jamaica, you need to know this. Former Prime Minister PJ Patterson and Bruce Golding are among a group of ex-heads of government in the Caribbean who have expressed concern about the military buildup of the United States in the region, urging a pullback to avoid any undermining of peace, stability, and development in the space. In a joint statement, the former prime ministers said that they felt a need to make public their apprehension about the increased military security buildup and the presence of nuclear vessels and aircraft within the Caribbean archipelago, arguing that this has the potential to pull the region into conflicts that are not of its making. That's why I am saying that while Melissa is increasing to a category 5, this situation ought to become a tsunami. The other leaders are Baldwin Spencer from Antigua and Barbuda, Belize, Said Musa and Dean Barrow, Fruendel Stewart of Barbados, Dominicas, Edison James, Grenada's Tillman Thomas, Donald Ramota of Guyana, and Kenny Anthony of St. Lucia. The former leader stated that having a zone of peace has long been a cornerstone in the architecture of the Caribbean sovereignty and the axis of the region's relationship with the countries in the hemisphere, Europe, and the wider world. Take this away, honey. Let us show them the very serious situation that is happening. So a war is imminent. Let us look at it to show what is going on in the Caribbean space. Let us look at this, Jamaica.
That deadly U.S. military strike on an alleged drug cartel boat with ties to Venezuela. It's escalating already rising tensions in the region. President Trump celebrated the attack by releasing this video, which shows the moment a boat was blown up in the southern Caribbean. 11 on board were killed. Administration officials say the boat left Venezuela loaded with drugs on a well-known drug trafficking route. The Trump administration has set its sights on the Venezuelan president, accusing him of heading a drug cartel in his country, calling it a terrorist organization.
The president's been very clear that he's going to use the full power of America and the full might of the United States to take on and eradicate these drug cartels, no matter where they're operating from and no matter how long they've been able to act with impunity. Those days are over.
Joining me now to discuss, Mariana Atencio, a freelance journalist who actually fled Venezuela to the U.S. almost 17 years ago. Welcome to CNN this morning.
Adi, thank you for having me.
Okay, so we've seen an actual military strike, and this was happening as Nicolas Maduro was kind of already on edge, trying to use this war rhetoric. Can you give me some context of how this escalated so quickly?
So, Adi, we have seen a level of tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela that we haven't seen in years. Essentially, Trump has mobilized around 8 boats, a submarine, and almost 5,000 Marines to the Southern Caribbean to combat drugs that leave through Venezuela. Venezuela, because of its geographic location, is the perfect transit country for these drugs to leave for Europe and the United States. So it's not a producer, it's a transit country. But things really escalated as the Trump administration, plain and simple, named Nicolas Maduro the leader of this drug cartel that uses the full power of the executive and the military to transport these drugs. The DEA has been kicked out of the country since 2005. And as the rhetoric escalates, we're seeing these tensions build up in the Southern Caribbean as both nations respond.
Can you give us a sense of what international community thinks about this? Do people say the same about Maduro in terms of the drug industry there, as you said, being a hub for transport?
All Venezuelans, Audie, have known for years that the Maduro regime is a narco cartel, that they lead essentially a cartel called the Cartel of the Suns. And that is because of the sun insignia emblazoned in military uniforms. Latin America and the Caribbean, however, is very divided along ideological lines. So you will see countries like Colombia, like Mexico, not have such a harsh stance against the Maduro regime. Also think about that this is a country that still produces some oil, so they tend to buy loyalties around the region. And we saw that last year. Maduro's not a legitimate president. He's a de facto dictator. He stole elections last year, and the international community didn't pressure him and his regime enough to produce the evidence of his supposed win, because again, many of these countries always vote along ideological lines. But we know this is sort of a rogue nation. 8 million people, including myself and many of my family members, Audie, have left because of the humanitarian crisis there. So you're seeing also a country that has become the #1 source of asylum seekers to the United States. So for the Trump administration, this is not only a drug problem, this is also a migration problem. And these are, as you know, President Trump's top domestic priorities.
Okay.
Mariana Atencio, thank you.
So let us take that away and let us reason now. The United States has the capability, right, where they can capture these persons, arrest them, and show the evidence, right, that here is the drugs. We hold them with the drugs, right, the evidence of the drugs, and take it to court. They did not do that. Not only one time that they had strike on only one occasion, but 9 occasions. Killing in instances innocent people. Now the fact of the matter, where is the evidence as it relates to what they are saying? And as I see spin doctors coming out, right, to the fact that that lady may have a vendetta against the government, but trying to say in alignment with Trump's position, but I am saying with a critical mind, just like what PJ Patterson, Bruce Golding, and other Caribbean leaders are saying. You have the ability, you have the speed to catch these people and present the evidence where you can use the evidence, right, and go after the Venezuela Prime Minister if you so believe that they are transiting on drugs. But no, they can't do that because what they are selling is a lie. It's a total lie. And so then that evidence will not, you understand, surface. The real truth about the matter, Jamaican people, where that evidence is there and where Jamaica is in also a serious position. The real truth about this is Venezuela had signed off as it relates to joining with the BRICS society. And the following year that they joined off on the BRICS, they were threatened by Donald Trump. So how conveniently this is. When they signed off with the BRICS, the following year they were threatened. Now, Cuba, again, aligning themselves with the BRICS, Cuban, been threatened. So we are talking about the commonality. Jamaica is being spoken to about China. So what does this look like? How is it serious that you have drugs, said drugs problem? Now, if this is a drugs problem, why United States is sending a United States carrier fleet to Venezuela? Why? This is drugs. If this is drugs, if this is true thing about drugs, why United States is sending such an aircraft carrier to Venezuela? Why? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Martin Pot, what is your input on it?
Well, they're very tedious, situation, and so it comes with tedious problem and tedious answers. But what we have to look at is the humanitarian side of things.
Yes.
That is very fundamental, for us to really look at. Because, I mean, we know that we don't like to see people being destroyed with such deadly force of weapon. It's so gruesome to really, comprehend such an event. But if America know that these type of activity is been orchestrated and run by the Maduro regime, then America should take the appropriate stance. You understand? And go and weed out the perpetrators. Bring them to justice, confiscate the goods and monies and stuff like that, and prove to the entire world that, your type of action was warranted. But if we don't see factual evidence, there is no conclusion we can draw upon the subject matter as it relates to drugs trafficking. No, we are looking at human loss of life. And we know about the BRICS, and we know countries like Venezuela and Cuba as being, two of the latest addition to the group of countries who are now in line with the BRICS, which is a, Chinese conglomerate. You understand? Along with places like South Africa and Brazil and other countries, who exit. So we are seeing country from within the region, South America and Caribbean, so to speak, which we all know is at the back door of the United States, who are aligning themselves to the BRICS currency. And we all know what that will do in terms of the IMF as a lending institution. It will weaken their power. And in so doing, it will weaken their American currency as well. So we know that it can be a geopolitical, warfare rather than a drugs warfare. So we have to take that into consideration. And when we look at, certain command that been issued to countries in the region by the United States administration, we've seen where Marco Rubio come to Jamaica and tell Jamaica government, prime minister, and the health minister what to do with the Cubans. We saw they took the same approach to other countries in CARICOM, but were not successful in, gaining what they want. They were pushed back by places like Barbados and other countries. So it's a situation that, as I said, it presents a problem. But one thing I know, and I will blame the American for, is to, just destroy people's life like that. And this is why the 4-star general leave the post. Because the 4-star general, might have some substance when it comes to humanitarian and the loss of life, and could not bear, to be a part of this corruption-led scheme, which we know is orchestrated by Donald Trump. And people need to remember that Donald Trump campaigned on a slogan saying, "Make America Great Again." And one of his mandates was to wage a war on drugs traffickers and gangs and illegal immigrants. And we have to take into consideration that Donald Trump is now serving as president for his final time. He cannot run for president election anymore. So Donald Trump, as an individual who we know don't have much regard for people's life, will destroy people. Because Donald Trump likes to exhibit himself as, the superpower leader in the world. We have seen it played out in Gaza, where Donald Trump was aiding and abetting Israel to the extent that they flattened the entire Gaza Strip. And we know close to 100 million people, 1,000 people lost their life. You understand? Close to 100,000 people lost their life. The last count was 67,000. And the entire Gaza Strip demolished. And we were seeing, AI image of what Gaza would look like in the future. So it's a dictator at work. And when you have a dictator at work, then things like this becomes eminent. Now we all know that the Caribbean region and South America has never, been in a situation where it seems like a war is imminent. No, it has never happened before. Not even when he went and get Noriega. Never have this. But we learned that these vessels were moved into Puerto Rico a couple months ago. A US-led convoy of several ships and, army personnel were moving to Puerto Rico, positioning themselves. And now we are seeing what they went there specifically to, be within that space so that they can carry out them airstrike on the vessel. But we want to be sure, and we are not certain as to what was in the vessel. All we know that people lost them life. The amount now deceased stands at 30.
But Melting Pot, hold on. Let me give you some data because I want you to get some more information. Look at this serious development as it relates to, it is the largest warship that Donald Trump sent to Venezuela now. Let me play it and let you see it. And then you can do some further comment on Melting Pot. Let me just give you some more data. Look at this. This is crazy, people, what Donald Trump is doing. Right? Look at this.
A dramatic U.S.-led escalation in the Caribbean, what the Navy calls the largest warship ever built, along with fighter jets, heading to the waters off Latin America. The administration claims the goal is to stop international drug traffickers. The provocative move comes as the Pentagon announced another overnight strike on a suspected drug boat. The 10th strike in 52 days, at least 43 people killed in total. And President Trump telling reporters these attacks may just be the tip of the iceberg.
I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay, we're going to kill them. They're going to be like dead.
And CNN is reporting tonight that the president is considering plans to target cocaine facilities inside Venezuela. Now, the lack of transparency about these plans, especially the deadly attacks on alleged drug boats, have an increasing number of Republicans doing something they don't do much these days, criticizing the Trump White House.
The administration needs to give insight into Congress. That's part of it. If this was happening with this level of insight under the Biden administration, I'd be apoplectic.
And as tensions spike across the Caribbean, President Trump is now just hours away from leaving for a high-stakes trip to Asia, where he's scheduled to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping. Their first meeting since President Trump was reelected, and it comes as U.S.-China relations are now at their lowest point in years. Kristen Holmes is out front live at the White House. Kristen, the president has been focused very much on these strikes in the Caribbean, but he is about to have one of the most important meetings of his second term in Asia.
Yeah, there is a lot internationally going on for the president as he embarks on this trip. And just to dive into what's happening in the Caribbean, I mean, you mentioned this warship, these fighter jets, all of this really represents a potentially massive military escalation. I mean, this is not happening in a vacuum. It's happening at the same time. President Trump has confirmed that the CIA is operating in Venezuela. He has said a number of times and increased the rhetoric around the idea of land strikes in Venezuela. Now, of course, we have reported that all of this is part of a broader strategy strategy to eventually oust Maduro. But White House officials say the president is considering a number of options. One of them you mentioned was this targeting of cocaine facilities. I do have to note, Venezuela is not known as a major source of cocaine. So that's just something to keep in mind as the administration has tried to link Maduro to these drug trades. The other one that they were considering is striking actual drug trafficking routes. But again, President Trump has not made any decisions. And we should say that while these escalations, these tensions are rising in one region, there is a lot of hope that President Trump's trip to Asia is going to help de-escalate tensions in another, particularly that relationship with China. I mean, we have been in what we've all been a part of, this kind of back and forth trade war since President Trump was sworn into office. The relationship between China and the U.S. is at an all-time low, and there are a lot of people who are deeply concerned that we are on the wrong track and that we're going to lose other allies in the region who want to trade with China. So this is an opportunity for President Trump to work with those allies as well as to sit down face to face with President Xi. But Dana, I'll tell you, they are really trying to manage expectations on that sit down. Maybe they learned from the sit down with Vladimir Putin in Alaska that they shouldn't get ahead of their skis.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's a lot to learn there. Kristen, thanks so much for your reporting. Appreciate it. Fareed, it's so good to see you. What do you think, let's start in the Caribbean, where I just left off. What do you think of this massive military buildup? Is it really about drug trafficking or about trying to force regime change in Venezuela, or both?
Dana, you're focusing on the right issue. It is a massive buildup and a massive escalation. Look, we probably now have more troops in that area, in that region, the Caribbean and Latin America, naval troops than at any point since the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Wow.
You're talking about 10,000 American troops, 8, 9 major carriers. And it is unclear what the purpose is, because the ostensible purpose, as you say, is all about drugs. But as one of your previous guests was saying, Venezuela is not the font of all the drug trafficking coming into the United States. It's a terrible regime, make no mistake, and Maduro is a terrible guy. But if this is an effort at regime change, it would be very important to have thought through the entire sequence of events that are going to take place, how this is going to work out. Donald Trump, in many ways, came to power breaking with Republican orthodoxy by pointing out that the Iraq War had been a fiasco, by pointing out that the Libyan intervention had been a fiasco. He had been initially, in very Donald Trump-like way, he had been in favor of the intervention, sort of, and then when it turned sour, he said the Libyan intervention was a mistake and Gaddafi should have stayed in power. All of which is to just say, if there is a move toward regime change, if this is some kind of a quiet or escalating war to get Maduro out of power, you'd want to have thought through the day after, the week after, the month after, because Venezuela could easily collapse into chaos. And then, if you think we have seen a lot of Venezuelan migrants, we ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. It's so interesting and important that you say that, because I was thinking about that same dynamic, that this is a man who has been saying, I want to end wars, I want things to calm down. And it's not necessarily definitive that he's trying to start a war. It could be a show of force. It could be a lot of different things, and moving such a huge military presence into the Caribbean. But is there evidence that those steps that you're describing the day after, or what would happen if Maduro is actually overthrown, or if he steps down, what would happen?
Well, we have the opposition leader, Machado, who just won the Nobel Prize and who's been very...
So basically, melting pot, this is going to get nasty.
Yeah.
This war is imminent. And let me just put it out here in terms of asking certain questions. All right, said I was a part of a drug cartel, right? And I am shipping drugs, right, through Venezuela transshipment point to go to US. And I saw where United States strike, right, a drug boat, right, killing the people aboard the boat. Why would I want to chance it doing that? when the United States is striking the boat. And he had struck roughly about what, 9 boats or 10 boats, right? I mean, this like he's killing innocent people.
Well, from where we sit, that's how it presents itself. That's what we are looking at. I mean, the 4-star general, you know, is citing the same reason.
Yeah.
Just killing people rather than, you know, trying to apprehend drugs traffickers and to seize the contraband on board the vessel. That vessel could have been seized if America wanted to seize it. You understand? Yeah, simple. And, you know, when you seize a vessel, you reduce the resource that the people them use to do trafficking. And then you start to get good reasoning and good answer from the people them that you arrest. And then now you can move deeper into, you know, the corruption ring. Getting intel from the same people them you arrest, but we're not seeing nothing like that. We are seeing an all-out war, basically. Because, I mean, for Trump to send the largest ever built Navy ship, you know, that can carry so many air carrier on them. It shows that it's a full-scale war rather than a drugs, you know, related circumstance, where it's up against drug traffickers. This look to me like he's hell-bent on overthrowing the Maduro regime. You understand? That is what it presented to me right now. Yeah, by toppling that regime, then, you know, it weakened the relationship with them and China and becoming a part of the BRICS community. That's how it looked to me, Byron. I don't know if you're seeing it in that light. But basically, that's what I'm seeing here.
I am taking the parallel view with you, Melting Pot. That's exactly what I'm seeing as well.
Yeah, and so now, you know, we appreciate what CARICOM and our former Prime Minister, the Honorable Sir Percival James Patterson, along with Bruce Golding from the Labour Party, the stance now that they are taking in terms of making their voice be heard in regards to the region now embracing this type of activity. But I know that going fall upon their face because Trump is a man who listen to people of lesser stature. You understand? So, but I like the way their voice is concerned because it's a matter of concern. And, you know, it would have only been, you know, hypocritical if they had never come out and say anything. Well, we don't hear from the Prime Minister now. We don't hear from Andrew on the subject matter. He's very silent in regards to this.
What I'm saying, Melting Pot, if the situation is about drugs, then why not have them arrested, right, prosecuted, and show the evidence to the world?
Right, right. And even the interviewer, yeah, they are citing the same reason as we. Basically, in the interview that you just played, it's not really about drugs. That is just, you know, a narrative that Trump put out there to position himself in the region. Trump have this in the back of his mind long time, you know. And I just something him come up with, you know. But Trump was playing devil advocate and was doing a thing called reverse psychology. When Trump said he's going to make America great again and outline some of the activity that him having planned in terms of fighting against drug trafficking and gangs and illegal immigrants. Yeah. Well, we know about the illegal immigrant, yeah, the issue with that. Yeah, because we know what ICE going with and stuff like that. And we know several people, yeah, them get them out and we know what took place with them and the Democrat as well. But we know in relation to the drugs, yeah, that was the reverse psychology game when played. him know say that region there is a high traffic zone for transshipment of drugs on the sea. But is Maduro him really after? Maduro regime him want topple.
Yeah.
But you have to use a reason. Yeah, as a pretext for why you're going in that region. You understand? But where we are looking at and how we view it right now, we know say him want topple that regime. Yes, the regime might be a corrupt regime, yes. It might be involved in drugs related circumstance. I'm not sure. But then the might of US can go and arrest him. I know about that. I'm sure about that. You understand? I'm sure about that.
Yeah.
There's many other mechanisms that could have been utilized if you want to topple Maduro regime. Don't do a pretext and say, well, then it's a war on drugs when it's showing that it's a war with the regime in a Venezuela. Because when this I don't know, yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg for the full-scale escalation. It's just the tip of the iceberg. Because, you know, even yesterday, no, the day before yesterday, when they strike that vessel and 3 persons on board lost their life, I mean, the sentiment was echoed before that it don't look good, but them still go ahead. So the 4-star general have to leave now and step down. And as him say, him don't know who will be the next appointee to the post. You understand?
But
Because
again,
it is cause for concern for the 4-star general.
Again,
Yeah, Byron.
If the situation was about drugs, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah.
Why the 4-star admiral resign? Why the 4-star
Because him no sign of drugs. The 4-star general, you know, realize say the command when them get is not for arrest, it's for kill and destroy. And I know the 4-star general with film integrity intact. Him can show the public and the wider world no exhibit of drugs. And that now is playing on the 4-star general mind and weighing him down. And, you know, some people, regardless of where they're from, they have, you know, passion for human life. Them see it as like theirs or them family member life. So, it look like even the 4-star general was misled. I don't know. This is madness.
I think Melting Pot, and I am going to take the side as what Freedom said. Here's what Freedom said, and I do believe this in terms of what Freedom said here. Freedom said he does not want to be charged with war crimes. Trump will not be around forever. Because remember, if there was a situation in terms of what the narrative is that there are drugs, barons, and they are shipping drugs. I am saying then, you hit 1, 2, 3, and people pressuring you to say, okay, all right, make sure that you present the evidence. Why don't you present the evidence? In the other case, why don't you present the evidence? You have the equipment, you understand, you have the mechanism, you understand, to catch these people and simply present the evidence. If you can see, right, them from a miles, and you can see everything what they are doing, then if that is the case and you can see everything what they are doing and you can zoom in, why don't zoom in and zoom in on the evidence?
Right.
Why don't do that? If you have the capability, you can zoom in and you can say to the world that, okay, here is the evidence. I have the capability. I can zoom in and these are the drugs that were aboard. Why not present the evidence? It doesn't make any sense if you are reasoning constructively. It doesn't make any sense.
And this is why I talk about the evidence. You know, I emphasize at the beginning about the evidence. We need to see evidence. That's why I can, you know, endorse whatever I say as it relates to the drugs war. You understand? This is not a drugs war I'm looking at.
Yes.
This is a war that is designed to overthrow the Maduro regime.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, and to send a message to the other country in the region who are thinking of going to join the BRICS, that you have an next guest coming.
Exactly what it is.
Right? That is what we're looking at. Because remember, you know, Venezuela and Cuba were targeted. Right? And one of the reasons why, and I mean, that was just a flimsy excuse, because I mean, we know the world is a trading community. Yeah, goods and service trade right around the world. And I know when the trade embargo was in place upon Cuba, Trump never even dreamed to enter into politics. Several decades now, you know. But here is Trump still enforcing an embargo upon Cuba, saying that by Jamaica employing them, it is easing them, you know, what you call it now, with them embargo with them place upon them, and providing jobs and boosting their economy. But Trump never around during the time when everybody has a Cuba a communist country under the Fidel Castro regime at the time. Trump never did know any your politics.
True.
But Trump now come and utilize that same strategy. Yeah, but I know Cuba has long been in exile. And Cuba even helped America in the pandemic by sending several of their same medical staff into the United States to help with the situation at the time. Yeah. Even though Biden was around, there was no problem. America benefit from Cuba. But here is the same guy now taking away from the Jamaican people the aid of the Cuban medical personnel. And because we have a kleptocratic government, them couldn't push back on that. But a little place like Barbados, we can fit in at the parish of St. Anne. Me and Matt was, you know, in our own rights to tell them, no, we need the service of these medical people to look after our people. And it doesn't matter how much we pay them. We are paying them the salary that we pay our own. But Tough Tongue and Andrew Holness could never engage Rubio in a such conversation. Them quat. So we know where we're going, Byron.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have to just try, you know, enlighten the people and say, look, this is all about the BRICS. You understand? And when you have countries like Venezuela and Cuba from within the region who are now considering of signing up to the BRICS, if they haven't done so already, America don't want that, Trump don't want that, because that is only going to make his fiercest competitor in a world trade, yeah, as it relates to economy and the size of the economy and trading power, more stronger by having more country now buying into the BRICS and trading with the BRICS currency rather than the US dollar. So Trump don't really want that. So Trump have to use some other ways and means of destabilizing, you know, the BRICS by waging a war on the country who have intention of becoming member of the BRICS community.
You're on point, Melting Pot. You're on point. Very much on point.
Right. And so is a message I'm sending out. Yeah? It's a message. That's why I'm positioned right in the Latin American and Caribbean region. I'm close to Cuba. I'm close to Venezuela. Are the two countries that who decide to shift them attention to the BRICS community. Right? I probably Marco Rubio brief Andrew Holness already, me no know. Andrew might get brief in the last time, you know. Because Jamaica are one of the biggest Caribbean islands, with having one of the largest population outside of Cuba. So, in a CARICOM. So, you know, Andrew get briefing already, you know. That's why we tell people, say, Andrew can't stick nor twist. Right now, Andrew eye them tie behind him gag and him bound by the U.S. administration. And this is why we know Andrew weak as a leader for we, because remember, I know, our hospital understaffed, our people must suffer because the Cuban them gone home. You understand? Most of our trained medical personnel them leave Jamaica and then I see America, Canada, and UK. So Jamaica is at the mercy of where Trump are the same way. Yeah. So Trump are disturb the whole region because I'm last term people and the man were evil. Very evil. You know, you're the man's statement a while ago. I'm going to kill them. Dead. That alone is a statement in itself. So this guy now have no regard for human being life. And so we will destroy you for even a fly. For him not like you. He will use the fly as a pretext to destroy you. And say you have fly where we kill film people. You don't know this a guy, man, and dangerous. That's why we like to have we leaders them clean. What me say? Clean with integrity. Clean from corruption. Because America can look into your business from far afield. And this is why we know them have the technology for zoom in on the best of them. And sure, say, see, they carry drugs. Because them have them capability there. Because them stay from far and zoom in at Iran with they, as it relates to the nuclear plant. Mr. No, I see it on BBC. So we know them have the technology.
Well, they have so many satellites in the sky, so they can do it.
Exactly. But in this case, them don't do it. And why would you bring one of the largest ever built Navy ship to the region when it's only drugs they are dealing with? I think that would have been somewhere else where bigger war there. But no, they're in the Latin American and Caribbean region. Only, as what Trump referred to, a drugs war. Then the might of that vessel, under no circumstance, none of them, you know, drugs vessel can ever withstand the might of that vessel and the amount of people on the ground as it relates to human resource. Yeah? That too much to fight drugs war, man. Come on, man. We're not stupid. That too much. But now we have to look on now the wider picture. Is Jamaica on the radar, because remember drugs come and Trump come and say Jamaica now become the transshipment hub, you know. Remember Trump said that recently. So Trump is looking at Jamaica now from a different standpoint, and we have to start to think wisely. Because remember, you know, Trump is a guy like this. It look like him doing research, you know, and him carry vendetta. Because remember, the shower posse did that a wreak havoc. Kill so many people. Go out with so much hanky-panky. And when Trump upon him last leg, you know, him play any card, he will play any card and him label Jamaica as the transshipment hub for drugs in the region. And remember, Andrew Wallace now have so many Trump enemy right in our backyard. It's a serious dilemma. And we have to highlight it because it might sound funny, but that's true. Yes, my brother.
I think that, you know, Trump saying that, right, is also a warning to Andrew Holness, right? Because I think when things come to bump, and for Andrew Holness to make that decision, right? Trump want to know where he's at, where his mind space is at.
Yeah.
Right? Because remember, Donald Trump or the United States is concerned as it relates to the relationship between Jamaica and China. And as a matter of fact, not only Jamaica and China, the relationship between the Caribbean countries and China. Knowing to the fact that China, as a matter of fact, China is one of the strongest leaders in the BRICS.
Yes.
Because remember, China, as it relates to the 5 columns of BRICS, the 5 main column of BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India,
South Africa,
China, and South Africa, right? Yeah. As a result of that establishment, they had now transcended to, I would say, more than 20 countries who are now a part of the BRICS, making BRICS so strong.
Yeah.
So then, BRICS getting so dominant is the weakening for the United States dollar.
True.
And can overthrow United States power substantially.
Yes,
right?
Because we're weak the US dollar, you know.
Yes, because the world is not going to trade, you understand, via United States dollar again.
Exactly.
Right? BRICS is going to find their ways and means and create their own currency within the BRICS.
True.
And so then you can see that the pretext in terms of taking on Venezuela is building up, right, to overthrow the regime, right, because that regime, you understand, sign off with BRICS.
With BRICS.
So then Donald Trump will ease up Jamaica because Jamaica doesn't sign off on the BRICS. All right. If Andrew Holness ever make a move in terms of signing off on the BRICS, Donald Trump, United States, will start same thing what he's doing with Venezuela would be the same thing been happening to innocent people within Jamaica controls, port controls around the sea. Same thing will happen to Jamaica. So this
you're right.
Yeah, this is strictly geopolitics. You understand?
Yeah, geopolitics.
Tuning in, because again, Russia is taking up space. People need to look in. Russia is taking up space in the United Kingdom as it relates to Europe. Sorry, as it relates to Europe in terms of the war between Russia and
Ukraine.
Right? And so then automatically Russia is not going to stop that war. Russia wants to see permanent control, you understand, to have a bigger space, you understand, to pivot from. That is what Russia wants to do. America seems like they want to expand to control the Caribbean, as they call it, their backyard. They call it that the Caribbean is their neighbors, and they want to ensure that they don't have a problem worrying about Chinese, you understand, delegates in the Caribbean that can spy on them, you understand, and be strong if they are going to push for a World War III. Because how I look at it, melting pot, no matter with all the relations, no matter with all the narratives that build up politically, diplomatically, Russia, Vladimir Putin, is not going to listen to no one. Vladimir Putin is going to definitely continue the strike on Ukraine until he devoured Ukraine. That is the heart of where Vladimir Putin is going. And so then United States is reacting because look here, China again now is now supporting Africa. What China is doing also is now shifting manufacturers, car manufacturers. A lot of people might do understand. Shifting the financial power from the United States. And China is now developing right sophisticated cars in Africa. So then a big chunk of the market from United States is going to be eaten out. Africa is developing, and so then Burkina Faso, right, now is linked also with China, linked with Russia, and Africa, several of African provinces linked now with Russia. So that means a serious world power shift is about to happen right under our nose. And where it seems like some of it now is going to be spun out into the Caribbean as it relates to Venezuela. This has nothing to do with drugs. And no one can tell me that. This is about tumbling a regime, because this regime had supported the BRICS. And so then this is a very, very sophisticated move, because if the United States can change this Venezuelan president, then now they will now install someone who more favorable to the United States, you understand, and pull out of BRICS. That is where this is going now. Africa,
Yes.
Africa is merging, you understand. Burkina Faso, right, is getting strong. Africa within itself is getting strong. America is losing control. The IMF, the World Bank, all these places, all these institutions are losing control, while the BRI, right, the BRI monetary lending machine, right, is getting stronger, right? So which is the Belt and Road Initiative. And so then when you look in terms of the geopolitical minefield, it is now very serious that now Andrew Holness, remember Melting Pot, you and I, we put out a program as it relates to, and we described Jamaica being a prostitute between the dragon and the eagle.
Yeah.
Remember that we put out that
yeah, we did a program on that. Yeah.
Yeah, we discussed that program where Andrew Holness lie. Because China has spent a lot of development in Jamaica, has done a lot of development. Let us reason this Melting Pot. What China has done for Jamaica, no European country has done it. Because when we're talking about particularly to construct the highway, right?
Yeah.
Other European countries and America and France and other countries, right, said it was not possible. It couldn't be done. It couldn't be done. Right? And so then China came in and showed them how it can be done. Not only that China showed them how it can be done, China accomplished it. China had done it. So then this now is a serious situation as it relates to the geopolitics. China really and truly being advanced in the world, economically speaking. One has to remember that if you look at China, might be 50 years ago, right? China was once very poor. But China, over the period of time, you understand, being developed to this huge, right, economic power.
Yeah.
And while United States might be, strong as it relates to such an economic giant, because United States have a wide market, a huge market, and China also depend on the market.
True.
But one has to understand that United States indebted to China. A lot of people not talking about that.
Yeah.
Although United States, I would say, is the #1 global market, China has the ability to develop Africa into a market, you understand, and that market can defeat United States.
Right.
By
Because
developing
United
Africa.
States,
Yeah. Because why China is making that move? Let us deal with the the demographics and break it down. China is making that move because Africa has a larger population, more than the United States.
Yes.
Population-wise. As a matter of fact, Africa is the second largest continent on the globe. Asia is number one. Africa is number two. And so then, from an Asian perspective, in terms of China is now moving towards Africa, developing Africa in such a way. You understand? Burkina Faso is getting help from China. Burkina Faso is getting help from Russia. And that is how Burkina Faso now could dismiss the IMF, dismiss the World Bank. Burkina Faso don't need them because Burkina Faso is getting the strength from China and getting the strength from Russia. Now, Burkina Faso expanding in the region of Africa now is now influencing other African countries now, you understand, to follow suit and partner with the BRICS.
Yeah.
So then this is a very, very serious threat to USA because what I am looking on, right, and people might just say, no, Mystic Sensation, you're crazy. I am looking at that United States is slowly and surely losing an economic power. Under their eyes, it is slipping away from them. Europe, America, you understand, is slowly draining their economic power on the globe. China, right, is strategically taking over that. And while China is taking over that, China is pulling Africa within its strength as it relates to Africa population. Right?
And not
so
just Africa alone.
When I look at this, it is a very serious development. But here is where Andrew Holness now really caught up into a jam. China know very much a lot about the corruption with Andrew Holness too.
Yeah.
United States know much about the corruption with Andrew Holness. And this is a very serious position Andrew Holness finds himself in as a result of his corruption. Right? Now, so China, Jamaica, right, is sleeping in bed with China and sleeping in bed with the United States. And so then Jamaica cannot, for the next few years, or the way how Donald Trump is pushing this thing, Jamaica has to find gear. Jamaica cannot be neutral. So when it comes, because this move on the geopolitical war chess game, if Donald Trump tumbled Venezuela regime, right? It simply means they can pull back from BRICS, right?
That's what the eventuality of Trump,
want to
achieve. Yeah,
that's
what he wants to do.
If they make a mistake, because remember, we have seen where United States fight certain war, which people believe that they could win it and they lose it, If you remember Black Hawk Down, right? The movie Black Hawk Down, right? Where United States caught up into a domestic mess. You understand? And lost that. And so then they have to be careful in terms of this approach. Because what if China and Russia decided that, look, enough is enough, and decide to join force with Venezuela? If this is going to happen, me to tell people, say, this is going to be World War III. What say you on the melting pot?
And I mean, I can attest to what you're saying in regards to what I saw recently with China, North Korea, and Russia having their army display. And it was a very high-profile conference that they had. You understand?
Yes.
And I think that was just to demonstrate and show the United States the might of those three countries now working in tandem together.
Yeah.
Because those three countries have close ties and affiliation. Because they are, opposed by United States of America. And so they found their own conglomerate as three superpower countries in their own rights. And those three will certainly destroy and defeat the American. I'm not asking, I'm only saying and telling the people. Yeah, so we know that World War III is quite possible around the corner. This is why Trump cannot achieve what he set out to achieve with the war between Russia and Ukraine. Because Putin is playing Trump and Trump cannot respond to the game that Putin is playing. This is why Trump does not want to give Zelensky the long-range missile. Because if United States provide Ukraine with the long-range missile that they want to strike target in Russia, then the allies that we saw on display will join force, and the force will, launch their own warfare against the United States and even the same Europe, and that going constitute World War III. Because remember, NATO is in charge of most of these European countries. Yeah, except for a few, like Ukraine and places like Hungary, and those places that are not a part of NATO.
Yes.
You understand? So NATO, as much as people consider them to be weak because they should be protecting the European space, NATO know for a fact that they have not invested into any sophisticated artillery to combat China and North Korea and Russia as a combined unit fighting against NATO. NATO doesn't have the capability because NATO has not been spending. This is why Donald Trump has been saying to them, well, look, we as America have been spending more than all of you combined together in a NATO, and it's time we're not pulling no weight. Because what has happened now at on the doorstep, we are afraid to confront Vladimir Putin. That's why them turn to America. But, Europe was, looking at a more peaceful world. If you notice the other country them in Europe, yeah, they're not really up for any war. There's only one bad dog there in Europe, and it's Russia. Right? So when Russia, bring the troop from Russia into Crimea, yeah, and say to, because it raised eyebrow, but Vladimir Putin say it's a military exercise, and they allow them there for a period of time, and then them strike Ukraine because it wasn't a military exercise.
No.
It was designed to position and then strike.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Vladimir Putin is saying that belongs to Russia, Crimea. You understand? Because Ukraine was formerly a member of the Soviet Union.
Yes.
And Ukraine is so close and strategically located to Russia that Russia need the access of that piece of land. You understand? So it's a situation now where World War III is brewing as we speak, and people need to get real and understand, because the geopolitical side of things is showing that clear. It is evident. It is clear.
Very clear.
Yeah, because just recently, you know, it has never happened before. We are 3 world leaders who we know are warhead them. Yeah. North Korea, China, and Russia. Kim Jong, you know, say him not take talk. He's a mad dog in himself. Vladimir Putin, yeah. And Xi Jinping, they know, you know what them do. Remember, said China have the largest human resource than any other army, because China have the largest population. So where manpower resources concerned, China have no shortage of that. You understand? And if you combine Russia and North Korea and pull them together, God Almighty, heaven help us all. Heaven help us all. Yeah. But how nice it would be for all man like me and you now to come all the way back to the Caribbean and take ourselves from the environment and the World War with base. But well, look, our country now become embroiled in it too as well. Because we have stupid leader who want to position himself in a bed with the eagle and the dragon. You understand? And we didn't know that there caused problem in Byron.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that would have caused problem. Because it's just like we're gonna use a scenario now. Yeah?
Yes.
You're in our community. Right? And you know call yourself as a gang member. Yeah, you're a working man where everybody see you go work. But you're par with the 2 gang.
Yeah.
You're par with the 2 gang. One of them will get you out, you know. One of them must get you out. Because one of them will have you as a traitor.
All right. Melting pot.
Yeah, my brother.
Hold it there a minute, because while I'm reading the chat, someone wrote in the chat that Chinese, right, doesn't build anything. So I just want to show the person. That's why you see, you know, awareness is very much important. I want to show the person that China, right, as it relates to technology, right, outbeat United States. That China has some creation that marvel to this world. It's just a lot of people not get into it. So let me show it for persons who say that China is not building anything and Chinese is this and that. Look on the evidence. Look on the evidence.
Machines built in China. You gotta see this. First, the SLJ 900/32 bridge builder. Picture this, a machine the size of a Boeing just walking across a bridge while building it. That's the SLJ 900. It's 190 feet long, weighs nearly 2 million pounds, and installs massive girders all by itself. No cranes, no extra help. This thing builds the road as it goes. Second, the SANYS CC98000T M crawler crane. Now here's a straight up heavyweight champion with lifting power over 9,800 ton meters. It can haul skyscraper-sized concrete blocks like they're Legos. This beast is a go-to for towers and super tall buildings. Pure power. Third, the XCM GXCA 2600 all-terrain crane. Meet the king of mobile cranes. This monster can lift up to 2,600 tons and drives right up to the job. No setup circus needed. Power plants, giant bridge sections, you name it. This thing shows up and gets it done fast. 3 insane construction machines built in China. You gotta see.
All right. So I will say no more. Go ahead, Milton.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's good when we can, you know, at the touch of a fingertip, present them graphics and teach the people them real facts, no tabloid. Yeah, China have the technology, man. Very, very capable in that regard. You know, they're a giant in technology, and people feel understand that. Yeah. And yeah, we know China do work in Jamaica, you know. It is there for all to see.
Exactly.
Yeah. It is there for all to see. The only thing where I don't like with the program that exists in Jamaica is how many Chinese are employed comparison to the locals. Yeah. That's my problem. But somebody that have to come build out the infrastructure in Jamaica, because we don't have the capability as it relates to technology side and expertise. You understand? And I mean, road is paramount to any development. America, it's not that America couldn't do it. You know, America don't want to do it. And if America even do it, it come with high austerity measure.
Yeah.
It come with high austerity measure because the money going to come through either the World Bank or the IMF. But with China, with the Belt Road and Initiative, yeah, them don't put no austerity measure upon you. You can run your country accordingly, yeah, and as long as you meet them demands in terms of the repayment. Or you structure it and you meet your demands. We know that. Well, when we know China do, yeah, China build the thing and have a lease attached to it for a period of time, and then make the money from it and give it back when them done. You understand? But boy, I don't know. A little country like Jamaica should be able to sustain itself like Singapore. Singapore now have them problem with Jamaica having. And the reason why Singapore don't encounter the problem that Jamaica have and is encountering right now is the fact that Singapore does not tolerate corruption. And so Singapore will grow as a country and as a nation. Singapore have some of the most beautiful buildings, them architectural design, high skyscraper, and all these things. Economy booming. Yeah, in the top 5 economy in the world. But it's Jamaica, Singapore come get the micro model from, yeah? You understand? At Jamaica, them come, even education system, them come at Jamaica and get it. The micro and the macro economy model, them come at Jamaica and take it care of Singapore and look at Singapore today compared to where Jamaica is now. Nobody no run Singapore apart from the Singaporean them. Them in control of them own destiny. But Jamaica itch up between the dragon and the eagle. That's why I tell Andrew saying cannot stick nor twist. I wonder if you know what me I tell him say. And the eagle and the dragon me I talk to him about. But me know him understand me when me tell him say him cannot stick nor twist.
Exactly.
Because Andrew caught between a rock and the deep blue sea. My Jamaican people, it is real. Andrew is caught between the rock and the deep blue sea. And that is why we ask for a leader who is clean. Clean where integrity is concerned and corruption. But Andrew is a little yabba head boy. Him dunce, you know. Him not understand what it takes to be recognized internationally around the world as a leader for your country. When your name called upon corruption and drugs trafficking and aid and abetting criminality, it's bad. People use you. You become a prostitute. And Andrew is a prostitute. He's been used. Some use him, all refuse him. Yeah. Andrew gets used left, right, and center. We see Andrew carry Google Gaga. So them go in America. And at the exit door, we see them place him. Exit door, the two of them. Because them no regard them. You have backbencher. You have no body. And that them show to the world. And I want Jamaican to be critical in how we view things. Yeah, none of us have ever seen Andrew addressing any international gathering. Not like me and Matley. Look at the size of Barbados. I remember Jamaica giant on the world stage, you know. Hey, you know Jamaica around. In terms of how much we give to the Olympic movement. We don't have nobody high up on the Olympic committee. But yet still, we have the #1 and #2 fastest man ever in the entire world since track and field was made available as a sport. We have the 2nd fastest woman ever since track and field was available as a sport. We have accomplished so many great feats. We have world record, more than 1. But yet still on the International Olympic Committee, we're not a representative.
Look at that.
Because Jamaica doesn't strive for excellence. Jamaica strives for mediocrity. And that is why we keep languishing at the bottom of everything. And it's time our leaders start to move the country away from mediocrity, yeah, to have a country of great vision, where people can see you. You're not in no more obscurity anymore. Because mediocrity relate to obscurity, you know. When you don't have nothing more, nobody no want to see you. But when you have a great vision, yeah, people looking at you now. So we are trying to show the people in Jamaica the real incentive. Yeah, when you participate in a politics as an electorate, you must strive for the best. Your best talent must be on show and display, representing the country. And that's how you crush mediocrity. With Andrew Wallace and this Labour regime where I run, is a mediocrity party where nobody knows around the world. Them obscured from people vision. Because them are nastiness, them full of corruption and shit. Nobody no really want to see them. But when you have clean, credible people like a Mark Jefferson Golden, who will know squeaky clean, a man of integrity, a man of class, a man of substance, a man of vision, then you will see investors start come at Jamaica. The only investors them will participate in Jamaica and some drugs baron, you know. We are investing money in a one sector called the hotel. You notice the factional bill? The factional bill again at Jamaica, you know. Anything I go up a hotel, 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 hotel. That's all you can hear. Tourism, tourism, tourism. I hear lollipop jar. Yeah. In a sectoral debate in a parliament. Yeah. And them talk a bag of shit. Because if you have so many millions people that come to Jamaica, or you're not trying to reinvigorate your airline, won't give it. Bring it back on stream. Because you tell about 8 million people, you know. 8 million people are practically 3 times Jamaica population. 3 times Jamaica population. But you know, no airline carrier, I carry nobody. You are sign up at a country and them airline. You know, see the Labour government are shit. Eh? We don't give it the lovebird. But yet still on a project on yourself to be the dominant force in a CARICOM where tourism is concerned. I mean, no lie on I tell. Yeah? Because I know St. Lucia, the visitor where them get is a greater spending power. Visitor them get go to them country. I be a corruption and I get in Jamaica. People will come to have coke party, cocaine party. I want a nasty naked beach down hedonism. Them the people are freaky people. Them not bring no family. Them come in ones and twos, singles and pairs. We don't not get no family bookings. That's why we can't make the people them go into the society, you know. Go find true energy amongst the locals. I could never be a tourism minister and talk about Jamaica as the prime destination and how much people and the various market, but yet still I don't hear you say you go to Africa, go look at market from Africa. Like you leave Africa out of it. That means you don't like black people. There are several millionaires and millionaires in Africa who get that now on a ticket. Just look how many Africans play football in Europe and check them salary. Yeah, and look on certain place because I'm going to show where them shows on the local underdevelopment place in Africa. There are some very beautiful cities in Africa, Addis Ababa and all them places there. You understand? Well down there. But we don't hear the tourism minister say, well, he might go to Africa, go open up a market. Yeah, as it relates to tourists coming into Jamaica from Africa. That's why I know my garbage is my piece of shit. Because who them associate themselves with, you know, as me tell the people, you know, and nobody will look like we. Them skin color are too dark. It will cast a shadow upon Jamaica, them go for the lighter skin. But we don't need that. We're full of sunshine on Jamaica already. Everybody can see them way. But of them people that run Jamaica and control Jamaica because Jamaica is being run by capitalists, dictated by capitalists. You understand? And capitalists not good for third world country, especially black people. It is a disaster. For we survive as true descendants of Africa. It's a no-go. And Andrew Wallace who said it, I get to youth when I bad with gold spoon in my mouth. And the cliques that him join. That's why I know great leaders speak with great mind. Michael Manley warned Jamaica about the cliques. Michael Manley tell us that the Jamaica Labour Party is the yo-yo of the cliques. And we're seeing it right now. Yes, my people, we're seeing it right now. This is why Andrew cannot stick nor twist between the dragon and the eagle. This is why they build the Foreign Affairs Office downtown and nobody now use it because America ban it. Ban it. You can't waste so much money build Foreign Affairs Office headquarters. Yeah. But it can't host nothing. It cannot host anything because America label it as shit. Tell the world, say if you're going there and say anything, China will listen you. Waste of money. How did that come about? That come about because we have a corrupted guy around the country who believe in all these type of hanky-panky deals. Rather than being transparent and being objective to the point. Why you want to build the Foreign Affairs Office was to provide accommodation for foreign affairs officials when you have these discussions. But it become a white elephant. A white elephant! Because who around the country believe in corruption. I yield back the floor to you, my brother.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are going to, end it for tonight. Really appreciate Melting Pot input. So let me just hand over to Wifey, right, for Wifey to take us out.
Okay, guys, again, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate each and every one. We don't take it for granted. You could have been elsewhere, but you chose to be with us. Blessings and thank you, Melting Pot. Want to just encourage everyone to just continue to watch the updates regarding the weather system. Keep yourself, your family safe, and we will see you on Tuesday when we get back on live, as well as we'll watch the weather system, and based on what's going on, maybe you'll see us before Tuesday, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for your continued support. Have a blessed and wonderful night, and stay safe.
All right, Melting Pot.
Bless up.
Yes, my brother.
All right, blessings. Blessings.
I don't want you come to me with that foolishness, you know. You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right start that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.